Hello, everybody. This is the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And today, it's not all of us. Most of us are here. We're still waiting on one more person to come on in, but we will go ahead and get started. We are talking about the Deadpool Evergreen list, and I've missed doing these videos with my friends, so I figured, hey, let's do something that is kind of everywhere right now, and that's Deadpool, of course. So I'm going to let my guests introduce themselves because I'm not alone, because you know we love to argue, and it's not fun when you argue with yourself. So to my right is Ian. Who are you, sir?
My name is Ian. I'm for the podcast YouTube channel Circuit 42. I've already spoiled it in the chat for everybody so they all know that the #1 Evergreen release is going to be Phoenix Volume 1. Phoenix Saga Volume 1.
What the hell?
Yeah,
We did not even do that.
So I figured that's a good way to introduce myself on my first episode.
That is a horrible way to introduce yourself. And to his right is, who are you, Max?
I'm Max. I'm Max Appleman, and I do music things and I read books, and I'm occasionally on these streams just for eye candy purposes, mostly.
Eye candy, that is right. So usually he is taking Lars' place. That's why we keep Lars around, for the eye candy.
Yes.
And making his debut on Near Mint Condition, we have two people making their debut here, really. And
Three.
I think Ian, he's never been on with us either. Wow, 3. We got a lot of new blood, if you will. Yeah, Tyler, we've known each other for years, and you and Peter actually have done videos together. Who are you? Where have you been, man?
I've not been anywhere. I've been here, glued to my chair, working from home. So
okay, rub it in.
Yeah,
wait, I do the
that's
same.
it. Yeah. Okay. I started a new YouTube video. So you know who Expose, or for short will be UXPOSE. Discussing mostly X-Men related stuff, but I do have plans to sort of like side ventures now and then. So thanks, Omar, for inviting me.
Oh, it is a pleasure. I've known Tyler for a long time. Well, I've known Tyler for a long time, but we've actually met in person. Was it New York?
Baltimore Comic Con. Yeah.
2018, 2019. It was a lot of fun.
It was 18.
Gosh, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
And then somebody that needs no introduction, but just in case you don't know who Crisis is, who are you, my friend?
I'm Crisis with a K. I write about comics on crushingcrisis.com. And this is like Crisis's greatest hits. These are all people I love to hang out with on the internet and talk and argue and scream about comics. I miss hanging out with Tyler so much. We have done dozens and dozens of hours in the field recording about comics. And I'm so excited to be on video with Ian for the first time. I've been on Circuit 42 many times. And Brandon, our all-star from the DC poll mapping, I will let him introduce himself next. I'm ecstatic. This is the best ever. Brandon, I love Max too, but Max and I go back. We've done this. We've had a few rodeos at this point.
You've praised Max already enough, really, right? All right. Who are you?
Hi, I'm Brandon XK, and you might remember me from, well, nowhere, because this is the first time I've been on a live stream. So, howdy, y'all. You might remember me from like being mentioned a lot in the mapping streams as the mysterious Brand XK, but you can just call me Brand. I'm here as a representative of you, the people in the chats, as part of the Discord of Near Mint Condition. So cheap plug there, and I'm ready to talk about some Deadpool comics, getting some arguments. Let's go.
Woo! Deadpool comics, and we have one more person joining us, and that is Dom of X. But his list is so weak, he's like, I can't show my face, so I can't make it there. No, he will be coming on as soon as possible. And with that, if you're not familiar with what we do here, what an evergreen is, this is usually when I let Peter take over and introduce exactly what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to go ahead and share this wonderful slideshow that Peter put together. And we're off to the races. All right, Peter, what are we doing today?
Well, let's talk about what we mean by evergreen. And with Deadpool, it comes pretty close because Marvel does keep a whole heck of a lot of Deadpool in print, but not all at the same time and not always at the same format. So why don't we look at their first slide and just define the terms of our discussion here. Evergreen is another way to refer to a book that's always in print. When the book gets low, it gets reprinted, not repackaged, but reprinted in the same way and seamlessly sent back to the distributor so they can sell more copies, as we are all familiar with a book like Watchmen. Marvel Comics has a small line of Evergreen trade paperbacks. They have many epics and omnibuses that they reprint again and again, but there aren't many Deadpool books on the official Evergreen list, so we are making our own.
And now, with that being said, can I go to the next slide?
Your slides aren't moving. The slides aren't sliding.
I was waiting for a yes or a nod, but
Yes.
you go on.
Yeah, we
Okay.
can keep going. Keep going to the next slide.
And take it away.
Is there another other slide? Another slide?
Oh, did you already
after that?
explain all this? Oh man. Okay. By the way, we
You know
are
what? Omar and I are getting back in the groove. We're getting back in the groove. We have a lot of streaming to do this weekend.
Yeah, it's like I need to get back into it. I hadn't had enough to drink. All right, go ahead, Peter.
Okay.
What are the rules?
Here's the rules of the debate. Deadpool doesn't have an extraordinary amount of collections, although he does have an extraordinary amount of comic books. So we could only pick 3 each, and they had to be paperbacks. Our criteria for why they should be evergreen are our own. They could just be the Deadpool's ass looks really tight in that comic book. That is fine. No one shared their picks ahead of time, so we have no coordination between us. We'll have 3 rounds, 1 to present our picks and why our picks are superior, 1 to debate why everyone else's picks are inferior, and then a final vote. I know this says 10 books will make our list, but I think for Deadpool, we should be a little bit more cutthroat. Let's say we're only going to put 8 books on the list today. So
already
please be
changing the
prepared to
rules.
defend your comics with your life if necessary, and hope that maybe you have a regenerative healing factor after we eviscerate you. And with that, established by tradition, one of our newbies will go first, and it is going to be Brand XK.
All right, Brandon, you are the representative of the people. Let's see if they agree with you or destroy you in the comments and chat. What'd you
I'll
pick?
probably do that anyways. Well, as you can see, my list kind of speaks for itself, but I will do the heavy lifting with this. I will go in reverse order just to make it interesting. Deadpool by Joe Kelly. This is the run for Deadpool. If you ever want to read a Deadpool comic, this is usually where you should go and where you should start. If you ever like the Deadpool comic, it usually can go back to Joe Kelly and their work. Rob Liefeld and Fabian Nicieza might have created the character, but let's face it, Joe Kelly gave them work with his mouth. So I don't think I really need to say more about that run to tell you how good it is.
Okay.
Especially with the art by Ed McGuinness. Moving on to Spider-Man and Deadpool. This is the team-up book that I think goes head and head with Cable and Deadpool, but it's one where they try and make each other better instead of trying to make yourself worse. It's a Spider-Man book just as much as it's a Deadpool book, and it's very fascinating how they try and go from trying to see the best in each other and trying to build each other up, while also finding oddball villains and cracking wise the entire time. And moving on to Deadpool by Kelly Thompson. This is one that might be a controversial pick, but this is also just a fun, short, breezy read to go through. Only 10 issues. And it has not only a strong supporting cast and underrated character, Elsa Bloodstone, and beloved character, Jeff the Landshark. It's also just peppered with Wu-Tang Clan references. And who doesn't love Wu-Tang? You can have this on in the background while you listen to Enter the 36 Chambers. Good time.
Wu-Tang is for the children.
It is.
Well, I'm going to stop sharing for a second because I'm going to change all of Brandon's answers. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that.
I appreciate the Wu-Tang reference, by the way. Thank you.
Were you a member?
I was the latest member.
I'm surprised they didn't retitle that Kelly Thompson collection like Jeff the Landshark Origins or something like that. Now that Jeff has officially become an Eisner winner, maybe we need to get a new cover treatment that's Jeff.
That probably would have been like West Coast Avengers.
Oh, that's true. He does first appear in West Coast Avengers. Good call.
Uh-oh. Peter.
Brandon, he will snipe me again and again. Just be prepared. We have actual, and get ready for Tyler too. We have actual continuity professionals on this show with me today.
Okay. That was Brand. And now we're going to Ian. Ian, what do you got on your list and why?
Well, starting with Deadpool Epic. Well, it's supposed to be Epic Collection 1, but
Oh
Yeah,
no, I thought it was 2. I apologize. Why don't you talk about 1 and I'll fix that?
that's perfectly fine. For
You
me,
can start with
I-
Deadpool and Posen, and then while Peter fixes that, you can go right to left, just like Bran. We're here to break all the rules.
Traditional rule breaking. Deadpool by Posehn and Duggan Complete Collection Volume 1 or Duggan. This was one of those books. Like, I hadn't read Deadpool in quite a while, and I actually got to meet Duggan Posehn in Austin Books, and I picked up the first line from there and I started reading it. And I'm like, oh, this is the Deadpool that I missed, because it's the Deadpool that we weren't getting for a long time from, I'll say it, writers like Daniel Way. And I'm reading this and I'm enjoying it. It's just complete insanity. And as I read through the entire run, I'm like, oh, this is probably the most complex Deadpool since Joe Kelly. And I got to the end of it and I'm like, oh, so things are not, you know, when you can feel the editorial, the writer being frustrated with the editorial right off the page, right there on the page. This one was definitely that, without spoiling anything. But in terms of a modern Deadpool run that absolutely nails the complexity of the character, where a lot of writers kind of forget that he has any, this is why I'd recommend Deadpool by Posehn and Duggan.
Okay.
In terms of Deadpool and Cable, this is without Deadpool and Cable and without Nicieza, we would not have Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. Because not only is it an amazing comic, but anyone who's watching interviews with Ryan Reynolds are familiar with the fact that the reason he took on the role was because he was given a handful of Deadpool comics after he completed Blade Trinity, because, you know, something good had to come from Blade Trinity. And he saw the panel in was it issue 4 of Deadpool and Cable? Omar, you would know. Where he says that issue 2, where he says I'm a cross between a Sharp Ryan Reynolds and a Sharp Hay. And
I read that just this weekend. I was like, oh my gosh, it's precog. How did he know?
Because Fabian Nicieza is a wizard, Peter, you know this.
Yeah, he was talking about how good looking he was, and even if you added like a Sharpie mustache, that was weird. Really interesting.
No, a Sharpay, Omar.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sharpay. I'm from Kentucky. I have Kentucky education. Hashtag Team Tyler already. Trigonosis. What? Tyler, you haven't even seen Tyler's list. It could be really stupid.
See, William Lee. You are a brilliant man, and I appreciate you. But let's come into Deadpool by Joe Kelly, Epic Collection Volume 1.
Oh, here, let me.
So no, hold on now. Mission Improbable is technically Epic Collection Volume 2, because Epic Collection Volume 1 is Circle Chase. So did you mean Epic Volume 2, or did you mean Joe Kelly Complete Volume 1?
I meant Epic Volume 2. Epic Volume 1.
Okay, then we're good. Then we're cool. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, because Volume 1
Peter,
is not.
Let him cook, Peter. Let him cook.
Go ahead. Volume 1 is not evergreen reading at all, and it doesn't need to be reprinted at all. It can be found in the realms of somewhere in the corners of Marvel Unlimited or a dollar bin, where it should have been, but it moved away from there. But it's got some good art by Joe Madureira and Ian Churchill, but nothing worth talking about in terms of writing. I'm sorry, Fabian. But in terms of Kelly's run, Joe Kelly developed that Deadpool universe. Anyone who's watching the movie, watching any of the Deadpool movies, and they're like, I want to read a Deadpool comic, you look at Joe Kelly's run. It's like you basically created the environment that spawned those movies. You look at things like Black Owl. You look at things like the I forgot the name off the top of my head, but the Merc Bar. I can't remember. And you look at the experience, the origins of Vanessa in the -1 issue. And this really, if I was to hand a Deadpool book to anyone who saw the movies, was like, I really like the movies, what do I read next, or what inspired this, I'm going to hand them this. And that's why I think these 3 books in particular should be on the Deadpool Evergreen list.
All right. Okay. Who's next? Max. Take it away, buddy.
Okay, well, let's see. What order am I going to go in?
Whatever, doesn't matter.
I'll start with the good, the bad, and the ugly, because this is also from the Posehn and Duggan run, which I think is the best Deadpool run. But the first complete collection cuts off halfway of this trade, because this collects, from memory, it collects 13 and 14, which is in complete collection 1, and then the other stories are in complete collection 2. But they're a good companion piece, because the first 2 are a team up with Luke Cage and Iron Fist, in which Deadpool has an afro, and it's very much like a Rudy Ray Moore film, if you're into blaxploitation films, which is very good. And then it has, I think it's a 5-issue story where he teams up with Wolverine and Captain America, which I think is very good.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a very good contrast, because the first 2 issues are very funny and just very comedic, and then the 5-issue arc is very dramatic and also very important to the Deadpool history in general. And because it's a shorter collection, it's more accessible and affordable. So I put that one on.
Okay.
Then we have Deadpool and Cable. Well, I put on the epic, but it's just, the whole run is very good. It doesn't start off great, I don't think. It's kind of a strange title in general, because it starts off more focused on Cable, then it's both of them, and then Cable just kind of disappears and it's just Deadpool, even though it's still called Deadpool and Cable. But I really like this book. Art is great. Writing is very good. And then for the last one, I like this one because it's just a long, completed story, and it's just fun. A lot of different art styles throughout as well. It's pretty good. It's also like it's written by Deadpool. It's like, I'm gonna go on an adventure. It's gonna be a hot babe. It's gonna be awesome. Pretty cool.
What artwork did Zach Kyle Baker and Rob Liefeld, did they? What was collected in here that they did?
I don't remember. I remember Liefeld doing 1 or 2 of them. I'm not entirely sure on that. I also really like that all the covers are homage to classic covers, mostly of movies and some of comics and some of albums.
Okay, and next is Peter with some sort of hot take. Wait a minute.
Well, I mean, let's talk about this. I've read every Deadpool comic book since 2008 to present, and often they're just not funny. And then I went back for this show and reread a lot of Deadpool, almost all the Deadpool that I'd missed from 1994 to 2008. And you know what? I'm not really willing to make a lot of them evergreen. So we'll have conversations about all that, gentlemen, in a couple of minutes. Here are 3 that I am absolutely willing to make evergreen, and for very good reasons. The first one, Deadpool by Posen and Dugan Complete Collection. Y'all, Deadpool's supposed to be funny, but so often it's just like a present pop culture reference, and you have to reread the comics now with like Wikipedia open to understand what the jokes are about. Posen and Dugan are actual funny people. They're not just comic writers pretending to be funny. The first arc in this where Deadpool has to re-kill all of the former presidents of the United States. If you are a United States history buff, if you love kind of like stupid presidential trivia, it's packed with so much stupidity about US history, but really, really funny stupidity that is not just of that moment in the pop culture zeitgeist. And I think that's why the Posen and Dugan Deadpool run really works for me, because it doesn't really expect you to have any specialized present day knowledge. It's just delivering you really funny Deadpool that kind of stands on its own as funny. I think even though the movies are based on a lot of Joe Kelly stuff, a lot of Fabian Nicieza stuff, I think if you just came out of the movie and you want to read like, where's a Deadpool comic where he's just riotously funny in the way that he is in the movie, I would hand somebody this in a second. My second pick, so I said I read every Deadpool comic from 2008 to present. A lot of them are these Versus miniseries, and so many of them suck. They suck so bad. But this one, I was going back through all my notes, and this, every single issue was funny. And this is actually also by Duggan. And the thing is, I think that part of the allure of Deadpool right now is seeing Deadpool bumping up against other characters we know. And just saying like Deadpool bumping up against, I don't know, Siren from X-Force is not going to cut it after seeing a movie with Deadpool and Wolverine. We want to see Deadpool fight against some big, well-known characters. Hawkeye is a Avengers movie Avenger. He's had his own show, and this comic is hilarious. And it's not just Clint Barton Hawkeye, it's also Kate Bishop Hawkeye, extra MCU tie-in points. And it's really good. If you've never read any of these Versus series, this would be the #1 that I would recommend to you. And then my final one, little left field for me, because I am not the hugest Scotty Young fan in general. But as I was looking through Deadpool runs that are just like good with no duds, this first collection by Scotty Young, Merkin Hard for the Money.
Peter, I'm
Yes.
sorry, you're on a roll, but really quick, when you say you're not a Scotty Young fan, you're not a fan of his artwork or his writing?
I don't find him as funny as other people do usually. Sometimes, but I like Strange Academy. I didn't really like Middle West. I'm kind of like hit and miss. I'm not like his #1 fan. He's not like my Art Adams. Like I don't like hate him and think he should be barred from appearing on.
I can't believe you just went with Art Adams right for the jugular, man. What's wrong?
Not everybody can be Greg Land, Omar. But so, but this book, so it kind of resets. It takes all of the drama of all of the Duggan run, and it kind of just throws it out the window. And it's like, what if Deadpool was just a total ass again? What if he was just a bad person who was merkin for the money, and we'd left behind all that drama and started fresh? And it's got Nick Klein art. It's really easy to pick up. It's really effortlessly violent. And that's what you want from a Deadpool story. I think the books that we make evergreen for Deadpool should be super pick upable by a kid in the mall at Hot Topic. And I think a lot of the things that my colleagues are going to pick here are not going to pass that litmus test.
They sell books at Hot Topic now?
Why'd you have to go with Hot Topic? They could easily pick these up at 5 and below. Tyler, talk to me. What is Wolverine doing on this list? What is
my Ben Percy? Are you trolling us?
I know. Wait. I have a reason for it.
Okay.
So the very first one I picked, not because the stories are good or anything, but because it has some historical significance, right? I mean, absolutely. We are talking about a very narrow band here. We are looking at character, and we are looking at Evergreen. We have to pick his first appearance, whether it's his actual first appearance or the first appearance of the modern Deadpool. This one has both. New Mutants 98 is his actual first appearance, and Deadpool 1 by Joe Kelly is arguably his first modern appearance. So I think there is a reason. My argument for it is that it has historical significance. Just like, you want to keep X-Men #1 evergreen, even though like it reads terribly. So that's why I have it here. And then Deadpool Posen Duggan Volume 3, I think is great because I think it was between this volume and Volume 1, but I picked this one because this one has everything. You want crude Deadpool, is there. You want raunchy Deadpool, is here, but done tastefully. You want irresponsible Deadpool, is here. You want violent Deadpool, is also here. And I feel like Deadpool is always at his best when he has a stoic and a straight-laced foil to work against. And here you have two. You have Wolverine and Captain America. And it is also a bit of a tragic story. And you can sort of argue that there are some Deadpool origins here as well. So, that and the cherry on top of it will be Declan and Koblish art. What's not to like? And Wolverine Volume 4. Okay, I famously hated Percy's Wolverine. Like, hate. But I picked this one because I think he writes a really funny Deadpool. Ignoring the fact that he ignores completely what Kelly Thompson had written in like King Deadpool #5. But this is a pretty funny Deadpool. There's a lot of fourth wall breaking, and it is a complete story. And then going back a little bit, he has a foil to work against, and that is Wolverine. And then, and best of all, it is drawn by Adam Kubert. And then it has the added bonus of having 2 issues of Terrible Wolverine, so that after you read it, you will not read any more Ben Percy book. That's it.
Just gotta throw Ben Percy under the bus like that.
Have you read his Ghost Rider? It's actually really good, Tyler.
Ghost Rider? No, the Wolverine thing?
No, okay. First of all, no, just Ghost Rider before Wolverine.
Oh, okay. No.
But yeah, man, Wolverine was awesome, dude. Wait, Ghost Rider was awesome. Wolverine was okay. Whatever. I get it. We need to make toys. We need to make comics. We need to make variants. It's Wolverine.
I know.
Dude, okay, I'm freaking out right now because somebody, I'll be honest with you all. I've gotten so used to these Evergreen streams. I'm like, okay, I know the short bets that are going to be showing up here. I know that people are going to be picking these particular books. Welcome to the party, Dom. You are such a near mint condition intern. You show up 10 minutes late.
This is the first time I've been late to any of these, by the way. PSA.
We're docking it. We're docking. So there is a book that hasn't shown up that I'm like, oh God, I hope somebody picked it because I played my cards wrong if somebody didn't pick it. And I really thought it was going to be Max or Tyler that would pick this book. But no, Tyler went with Wolverine by Benjamin Percy, Volume 4. What the hell? All right, whatever, man. Who's next? Is it me or Dom?
I think it's going to be Dom.
All right, Dom, you ready?
Yes.
Don't let me down. Oh, good. Okay, it's there. Woo. All right, I played my cards right. All right, talk to us, Dom. Why these books?
Sure. So these are 2 of these 3 books are some of my first Deadpool books. This is actually the first time I've gone on an Evergreen stream where I didn't use an Excel spreadsheet because I just went with my heart. I feel like talking about Deadpool to other people has made me go, you know what? I don't think Wade Wilson, as much as some people love him, needs a spreadsheet for me to be able to think critically, if you want to call it that, about these books. Posen and Duggan's run is, of course, where I think a lot of the comedic beats hit with Wade. Just sort of the two when I think, man, like this is going to make you knock your socks off. This is going to give you a good time while reading this comic. I think that run is the epitome of that. Also, a big shout out to Omar for sending me a copy of the Deadpool and Cable omnibus, and I unknowingly had some like heartfelt moments in this book that I wasn't expecting, which is something that I really wasn't anticipating with the Deadpool comic. But that run gave me a lot of those vibes, and on top of that, I really love the back and forth between Nate and Wade, just sort of going back and forth there, and what Nicieza did with the two made me love that book. And I think that's a book that everyone should try to get along with. And I also find Wade's best moments to be on a team where his personality can bounce off with a lot of other people, not just solo, but in terms of a team. And I think Remender did that nearly perfectly with Uncanny X-Force. And not only are you going to get a great Phantom X story, great Archangel story, this really is a pretty incredible Wade Wilson book at the heart of it. Even if it isn't the Wade that you are sometimes used to, I think it is still a very good way to see how he coordinates with the rest of the team. Hence why I came out with these three choices, and why I think they should be evergreen for Marvel.
Okay, I like. Thank you for putting the one book that I hadn't seen yet, and I was starting to get worried. Mainly because Tyler surprised me with his Wolverine pick. Not even the good Wolverine. Just throw in a random appearance of Deadpool out there. Whatever. Okay, Dom has spoken, and now it is yours truly. Speaking of Wolverine, I went with Deadpool versus Wolverine because I feel like that particular collection has a lot of different eras featuring Wade Wilson and Logan together. I think it does a really good job of like showing the type of meetings that they've had over the years, whether it's a feud, whether they're teaming up. And again, it's by different creators. So you get to see even the co-creator of Deadpool, Rob Liefeld, show up and draw an issue and plot an issue of Wolverine with some ridiculous characters that, guess what, never show up again because he forgot about them, and so did editorial. So it doesn't matter. Next up, I put the Saga of Wade Wilson in here. This is another book that I think it's a thickie, but it really it reprints a lot of the classic stories that feature the character of Wade Wilson. And it's, I think, one that showcases the different eras of the character too, because I really thought, okay, to be honest with you, I kind of knew that we were going to get Modern Epic 1, Cable and Deadpool. I'm like, there's no way that nobody mentions that, or Uncanny X-Force. I'm going to think outside the box. So this doesn't even have like the beginning of Joe Kelly's arc. This actually has like Joe Kelly's 3 through 5, 17 through 9. It doesn't even have the best Joe Kelly issue, which is issue 11. But then I thought, would that be as enjoyable if people hadn't read Spider-Man, that issue, like where he goes back in time? But it does have like the Deadpool and Death Annual. It has some of the stuff from the Jimmy Palmiotti stuff, how he is connected to the Weapon X era, and then it's got some Duggan stuff in there too. And then last, I thought, I think we need an anthology here. Yeah, Omar, you think outside the box gets me. Omar went whoa because I put Deadpool Saga. Wait, Wilson, you son of a bitch. Deadpool Black, White, and Blood. It's a lot of fun. It can be read at any time. These are the type of books that I enjoy because what I really like these type of palate cleansers. You're not deep into a story, but you get, the kind of character that he is throughout all of these particular stories done by different creators. There's one that, there are some that really hit, like Daniel Warren Johnson's story in Deadpool Black, White, and Blood about his dad buying him a comic book and it happened to be Deadpool. That one hit harder than I thought it was going to hit. I thought that was a beautiful story. And honestly, yeah, I don't see a problem with any of these being evergreen. And, I'm usually right. So that's my final words. All right. I'm surprised nobody picked Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe.
Thank
I
you.
read it, and it's just
I was
not good.
writing on that one, but that's okay. It's what happens. Peter, do we go back to
the top,
Brandon?
baby? Let's pick it apart.
All right, let's rip this apart. Brandon, welcome to the party, pal. Okay. I actually like your complete collection, Volume 1. Peter, correct me if I'm wrong, but has that been rebranded as Epic Collection Volume 2 now?
So Brandon and I actually had a little chat about this last night, and this is subtly different than Epic Collection Volume 2. It has a few more issues in it than Epic Volume 2. It goes a little farther.
Including issue 11 with the Spider-Man
just
issue that
rhapsodized
it
about.
references. So
I did.
Yeah.
It's a funny book. But would people get it? Would your average Joe,
if they have the issue of Spider-Man with it, then they will. So
Which is also in here.
Touche, my friend.
mhm.
Okay.
Plus, they could also, if the complete collection tag bugs you, they could always reprint it like they did with She-Hulk by Tamaki or Spider-Woman by Dennis Hopeless and just call it Deadpool by Joe Kelly, just without the complete collection tag. So you good there too.
I'm not going to beat around the bush.
Trades.
I'm not going to beat around the bush. I knew this was going to make it. I know people are going to vote for it. I'm one of these people that actually don't really like Joe Kelly's run. I don't think it's that funny. But it's not about me. It's about what everybody else thinks and what everybody else likes.
See, the reason why I didn't choose any Joe Kelly collection is because of issue 2. There is this creepy
The
scene.
Siren with T-Ray? Was that his name? T-Ray? Go ahead, Tyler.
No, I mean, there's this creepy scene of him like hanging outside Siren's bedroom, watching her sleep, which I think is like, no, that's terrible. That's not funny. That's like a stalkerish, like, icky, funny.
Yeah, but those were different times when Icky was funny. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's
not
like
evergreen.
a lot of these jokes have aged well. I mean, even if you look at Cable and Deadpool, he's telling jokes about Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen, like things like that. Nowadays, if you look at it through today's goggles, it's like, ooh, no, Deadpool should be canceled.
Yeah,
Back
that's why.
then,
That's why he's not
I
on
was
my
laughing
list.
my ass off. Right?
That's
I
why
was-
he's not on my list.
Damn it, Tyler!
This is
That's why you
also
put Wolverine.
This is also
All right,
one where there's
right,
a reassuration to Kitty Pryde. So
I'll
Yeah.
say this, Brandon. I will give you Deadpool by Joe Kelly, but no to Spider-Man Deadpool. I don't think we need two Joe Kelly books
Well,
in.
we don't,
But I do want to hear everybody else speak. I've said my piece about Joe Kelly. I don't find it funny, but I get it.
well, Brad, bold with the all Kelly ticket, Joe Kelly and Kelly Thompson. We all know on this channel that Kelly Thompson is my favorite comic book writer. However, I do not love Deadpool by Kelly Thompson. I think but how do we say his name? Bacello?
Bacalo.
Bacalo, I think.
Bacalo?
I don't know.
I think
that's how I
Bacalo's
pronounce
art.
it.
Wait a minute.
I think it's Pacheco.
I got this one. Bacello.
Bacello.
I say
I
Bacello,
think-
you say Bacello. Whatever. I'm sure we're
Let's
both
call the
wrong.
whole thing off, including all three of these picks. But I'll start with Deadpool by Kelly Thompson. I just think Bacello's art is so rushed in the first few issues. I remember getting this and being so excited, like, yes, like Kelly Thompson writing Deadpool. I'm going to love this. The art is incomprehensible. It is not one of Bacello's best works. And unfortunately, I just don't think that makes it very accessible or worthy of being evergreen.
Wow.
that is only the first 4 issues, though. And the rest of it
Okay.
is done by different artists. And also, you get like
Including Paco Medina in here, maybe?
There's Paco Medina and Rafael Albuquerque, I believe. Or no, Rafael
Mm.
Sandoval.
And Sandoval. Yeah. All right. Fair rebuttal.
All right, Christ Ankylosaurus is saying Botch-a-lo, which is the way that I remember Curtis pronouncing it.
Yeah, that's how his art looked on those issues too. Bachelot.
Wow. Evergreen is a lawn service. I do believe it is, sir. How are you? Yep, Botch-a-lo. Yeah, honestly, I would be okay with Kelly Thompson's Deadpool. I found it funny. I like the idea of Deadpool becoming king of the monsters. I just have an issue with Spider-Man Deadpool. I don't think it needs to be on this list. But what about Dom and Ian and Max? Don't be nice to Brandon just because he's new. Some of y'all are new too.
Being nice is a good
do
thing,
your
Omar.
worst.
Did you say being nice is a good thing?
Oh my god.
I'm
Who
nice
knew
all
the
the
Deadpool
time.
stream was
This
gonna
is
be
the
the-
one time I get to be an asshole.
The magical
I
friend
yell
stream.
at Josh for 2 hours every day. Do your worst.
All right,
know what?
there you go.
No.
Dom,
Yeah.
what do you think? You like Brandon's list?
Yeah, I don't understand why Spider-Man Deadpool is on here. I don't really mind the other two picks as much, even if I think Kelly's written better stuff, but I don't mind the inclusion of her run being in an eight set or whatever. If we get a cool issue with Jeff the Landshark in it, and I always love Jeff the Landshark. I think he's adorable. I think Joe Kelly's run should just be in there for educational purposes, if you would like to call it. I don't think we need a more modern Kelly run. I not only found this run to be just okay, I don't really think it's amongst there with some of the other great Deadpool hits. And I think there are better team ups with Deadpool and other characters than Spidey and Deadpool. So that's my take on it.
Thompson. It was Peter that was tearing it up. Okay. Thoughts, Ian?
See, I can't see. Here's the thing. I'm going to have to agree with Deadpool by Joe Kelly complete collection because I'm biased. Also,
Okay.
I'm going to have to know my own Deadpool Joe Kelly selection and replace it with this one because issue 11 is amazing. The Spider-Man Deadpool, I've read the first couple issues. I honestly didn't get into it. I don't see, like has been said, I don't see a need for a second Joe Kelly series, especially if we're introducing people to Deadpool. It's like, here's this starter Joe Kelly book, basically. You can read this later if you want to, but here's the one to kind of kick you off. In terms of Kelly Thompson is an amazing writer. Bacalo, regardless of the pronunciation of the man's name, he is an amazing artist. He's one of my favorite comic artists, especially for Generation X and the Death miniseries. But in terms of his artwork here, I agree with Peter. It is borderline incomprehensible, but if it makes you feel any better, if you go back and read the Generation X miniseries by acclaimed writer Akira Yoshida, you'll see work by Chris Baccello that makes this work look amazing. Go back and look at that, and you'll be like, "Oh, I can clearly understand everything that's happening, and I'm not having a stroke." So, Yeah, I'm going in for the Kelly Thompson. I'm going in for the other artists. I don't see the need for Spider-Man Deadpool on here on the Evergreen list, especially if we have Deadpool by Joe Kelly already.
Some really deep cuts there with the Akira Yoshida.
Playing Japanese writer theory.
Well, one would assume. Max, what about you?
I think the Joe Kelly run is so lame, and T-Ray is such a dweeb. I hate it so much. I read that Omni where everyone was like praising it to heaven, and I was reading. I was like, this is so lame, and the art is so boring, and the twist at the end just made me annoyed that I bought the Omni. It was so stupid. So stupid. T-Ray flipping Band-Aid on his nose. Dumbass.
You're fired, sir. I'm sorry. I know I don't have a channel. You're fired. I apologize.
He said you're stupid, Brandon.
I didn't use that word, Peter. No, Omar, you used that word.
Yeah, I don't get it either, Max. But hey, you know, to each their own. I don't get the Ultimate Universe, and I can't wait to do an Ultimate Evergreen because I'm gonna.
Then I read Spider-Man Deadpool, and I was like, wow, you're up to your old tricks again, aren't you, Kelly? Writing a book that people made me believe it's supposed to be good.
It is good.
And then it's fine. I'm giving this one a maybe. And then sadly I have to agree with the incomprehensible art and a story that made me go, well, yeah, I guess he's in charge of some monsters now. Okay, cool. Well, they didn't last long, did it? So I'm giving Spider-Man and Deadpool a maybe, and the other ones is no.
Peter, was there a Daniel Way book in here? I'm
There was
surprised
not.
no one picked that. And I went with different age groups here. I got us all covered. We got boomers, we got Gen Xers, we got millennials, and we got Gen Zers. In
Let's
this
go,
group.
Gen Z, baby.
Yeah, I got us all covered. And nobody picked Daniel Way. By the way, I'm not going to tell you who the boomer, Gen Xer, millennial, and Gen Zer are. That's for you to figure out.
That's for you to find out of who.
All right. Anybody else
messaging
want
right
to have
there.
Tyler? What about you've been quiet, my friend? What do you think about this particular list?
I mean, I kind of like Kelly Thompson's run, but I agree with the Bachello's art. That is a bit confusing because he tends to have one panel of just the leg and then one panel of just the arm and nothing else. So in terms of reading it, sometimes it gets really confusing. I'll give it a yes for that only because it has a great Emma Frost in it, and it has a great issue of Krakoa in it.
Before
that's
we
the
move
only reason.
on, I was really expecting to have to defend Kelly Thompson's Deadpool run is too wordy. To which I have to say, what book got voted number 1 in the DC mapping poll? Was it Batman by Tom King? That had 3 words in it. That was bat, cat, and meow. So I don't think we should criticize stuff for being wordy. But that never happened.
So let's see here. I wasn't a boomer when Deadpool was introducing comics. I did not say I was the boomer, you bastards. I said we got them all covered. Where's a boomer? I don't have boomer money. I'm making YouTube videos for a living. All right. Let's move on to the next one. This is Ian's list. Who has Deadpool Epic Collection Volume 2, Mission Improbable, which is the same one that Brandon had. Thank you for putting Deadpool and Cable in there. I knew somebody would. And Deadpool by Posen and Duggan. I'll go ahead and say it again. I don't think Joe Kelly's run is funny or good. But I feel like it's going to get voted because it's just, to a lot of people, it is the Deadpool run. And I'll just go ahead and tell you, I'm voting yes for the other two, though. Those are some really good runs, and I think some great books that would make good evergreen books. And I'm not kissing your butts for you to vote for mine, Ian. I'm just saying those are some good books. I really enjoy them. Hey, some boomers are nice. That's right, Edwin. That's
So
right.
I went back and read a lot of all three of these runs this week to like remind myself. And here's what I'll say about Deadpool and Cable. It is a very entertaining book. Zurcher's art is off the hook great. It starts kind of weird and slow and not really explaining like Cable is like a super god and not really giving Deadpool a lot to do in the first arc. Had this just been the first arc of it, I probably would be arguing against it. This epic has enough material beyond that first arc that I think it levels out. I do not think it's a very strong start, but I think that CS is good enough. This collection is long enough that I think there's satisfying stuff in it. Honestly, and I would say this about the other epic too, I think these series are just better later in the series, but we all know from past Evergreen streams that if we pick something that's like volume 2 or 3, we usually get crushed, because I don't think Joe Kelly's part of the beginning of Deadpool is the best of this run. I actually think Gail Simone's is better than this to give to somebody new, but that epic doesn't come out until next June. So I had it on my sheet and then I realized it doesn't even exist.
You could have used the classics. The classics
I could have used the classic. I could have.
Because I thought about adding the Agent X stuff because I think it's a great jumping on point. I think it's a wonderful, beautifully drawn by Udon Studios. Is it as good as Deadpool and Cable or Cable and Deadpool by Fabian Icesa? No, but it is.
I think the way that Gail Simone starts it off with I just think the first few issues are like so engaging, and even though she relies on the coup Deadpool is, she doesn't really like. I think this Kelly one, and having just read it, really expects you to know the Mark Waid, Ian Churchill 1994 miniseries, and it does not explain. It is just like you read that, right?
It does until you get the recap pages, which you're right, which are later.
Are they in the epic? Hold on.
They are. They're in that. Don't you dare look at your epic and question me. I just told you they are.
I was right there with.
Wait. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about Deadpool and Cable. Sorry, you're talking about Deadpool and Cable. Not. You're talking about Deadpool by Joe Kelly. I thought you were talking about Deadpool and Cable. Sorry. No, I don't. There are no recap pages in that.
Yes. So Peter,
those early recap pages are great.
So Peter agreed with me with like the classic volume 1.
We'll get there, friend. We'll get there.
Look at me. Please don't quote me on that. I thought he was getting the Deadpool and Cable epic, and I'm like, what? I know that book left to from top to bottom, man. I got that one. So does anybody have any issues with Ian's list? It seems like Ian picked a pretty safe and solid list.
Well, I mean, it's a no to me for the first one.
Only issue I have is the Epic Collection collecting just barely less than the complete collection. That just could be like a whole complete collection versus Epics debate, and what this is about. But Deadpool and Cable, really awesome run. Same with the Posehn and Dugan run. I think both those should be like evergreen. I know I'm like shouldn't be like advocating for stuff to be on the thing while also trying to fight people about it. But both are really solid runs. If you haven't read them, go read them.
Okay. Tyler has an issue with the first one, which I get. Max has an issue with the first one, but it's going to be interesting when it comes to voting. Max.
Let me give Max some heartfelt compliments here. I think Max may have the most solid trio of everyone.
What?
Because
did you see my list?
Well, here's the thing. We've already established Deadpool and Cable is probably a good pick. And then Merc with a Mouth, it's dumb. But Deadpool comics are dumb. And it's dumb in a way, and I think Max put it really well when he introduced it earlier. It's dumb in that it feels like a book Deadpool is writing about Deadpool. Like everything that happens just builds on. It's like a game of yes and with Deadpool and himself, quite literally. And I think you need one absurd Deadpool book on an evergreen Deadpool list. And this one is deliciously absurd in the best way. And then honestly, I mean, I'll let Tyler talk about, I think that Good, Bad, and the Ugly is possibly the best Deadpool arc of all time.
Yep.
All time?
Yep.
Tyler?
I agree. I mean, that has everything. And it is, I mean, okay. The way I would pitch Deadpool Volume 3 is someone goes to the movie, watch Deadpool and Wolverine, came out, it's like, I hate that movie, but I kind of want to know more about Deadpool. You hand them this book, they will love Deadpool. That's it.
Okay.
My only issue
Wow.
with the first one is by proxy. This will get reprinted anyway if you just vote for volume 1 of the Posehn and Dugan run.
No, it doesn't, because the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly story arc isn't in the first complete collection. It's in the second one.
Right,
Yeah.
but I mean, like, it's going to be reprinted by proxy because it's part of that run. So eventually it's going to be evergreen by process elimination anyways.
Well, we're selecting a single book. We're not betting that every volume would be reprinted or collected or printed as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
True, but if
and
we're
I'm
going to
okay
go
with
by
that mentality.
the if we're going to go by the we can't have 2 Joe Kelly books, why are we having 2 same of Posehn and Dugan on the same evergreen list too?
Well, no. It's not that we can't have 2. It's just that they're both bad. And I guess if I have to pick the lesser of both,
My heart.
I can,
You have to make space on the list for Wolverine.
no one said that, Tyler. You had me up until you opened your mouth. What is wrong with you?
But here's, you know what? I kind of was thinking the thought that Ian had, because I had this on my short list and I was like, oh, do you pick the first complete collection, which doesn't quite get to this material, but is so funny? Or do you pick this, which is like the most like satisfying, serious moment of Deadpool? And in the movies, he does have serious moments. And like, honestly, you could see this as being a vote for like, let's just have a complete collection too. Fine. But I do think that it's an outstanding story. I mean, have you all read it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a great
I've read
story.
Good.
Everything we talked about so far, or everything in here, I've read. And you're right. It is a good story. It's funny, and I think it's definitely one that can be like, man, Deadpool has actually got lots of layers. He's not just a funny guy that breaks the fourth wall. So I get it. I respect that.
And also, can I say something? Like, you guys voted Uncanny X-Men Omnibus Volume 3 on the list, but not 1.
Okay,
So
that's on me. That's on me. Sorry about that. That's on me. But I did try for Uncanny 1.
I love that Evergreen lore is now being weaponized against us. In
I love that
future
you forgot to
episodes.
mention that Phoenix got voted on the stupid list too.
Oh yeah, what also didn't get voted on there? Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1. So
These guys are monsters, man.
I'm sorry, we don't appreciate the classics around here.
Oh my God, is Josh watching? Is he? Are you channeling Josh?
I'm channeling me.
Any issues? Does anybody have any issues with anything on Max's list? Brandon, you want to tear into Max? You go ahead. I'm going into you. It's only fair.
My only real issue with this one is just the good, bad, and the ugly. It's not because it's a bad story. It's just because it's just more of Posehn and Dugan that we already have, that it will already get reprinted if Volume 1 gets reprinted. I know, it's not the same. But it's like, we're just basically saying, just read more of the Posehn and Dugan run. When we only just kind of need like one of those books on there if we're going to have 8. I don't have an issue with Mark with the Mouth, though. I think that's a pretty fun and solid run. It's actually really funny. So I don't have any issues with that unless we really have something to stuff out.
Well,
one
of the reasons I picked this book, apart from just the stories, is just it's a smaller book, so it's like more affordable and easier to access.
Yeah, we can put this one at Hot Topic.
Yeah.
And it's got Wolverine and Captain America on the front cover. Like, just take off the Volume 3. You know, like at a point, some books are just sellable because of what the book is. You know.
And my buddy Torsten is here to remind everybody that Evergreen doesn't have to mean good. It should mean relevant, which hopefully overlaps, but something to be evergreen just because it's fun doesn't classify my opinion.
Ooh, can we quote him in the title slide? That's
we'll put that in the title slide. Write that down, Peter. So put the omnibus. Done. But that's the thing, William. We're not putting omnis on this list. We're putting trades, which makes it a little more difficult because, as Brandon was saying, it would be so easy to just put the whole thing in omnibus and there you go. You're almost like cheating.
Yeah, like when I thought this was an omni thing, I was actually just going to put Posehn and Dugan on here, the volume or the omnibus on there, because like as a whole, that run is phenomenal. But like when you break it up into chunks, it's like, okay, I don't know over like what it would I classify as like better than the other. It just becomes like pick and choose, really.
Well, we're not making your life that easy, Brandon. Are you kidding me? All right. Crushing Crisis with his ridiculous picks. All right, Peter, you're my buddy. But yeah, that Scotty Young one is that's a conundrum. That's an interesting choice there. Hawkeye versus Deadpool. I see what you're doing there. That's another one by Jerry Duggan, who is, like you said, a comedian. He's a funny guy. But we already have Poussin and Dugan, and I feel like that one. Hawkeye versus Deadpool just collects what issues? Peter?
Just that miniseries. I think it is a 0 issue, but it's just the full miniseries.
And we're limited to 8.
Yeah, we're going to do 8 because we had some overlaps, and it's not a huge panel, so we're only picking 8.
Okay, then if I had to choose Deadpool by Poussin and Dugan, and maybe Hawkeye versus Deadpool, but absolutely not by Scotty Young. I wasn't a fan.
You hate Scotty Young?
I did not
I
say
thought
that.
that
I
was just
can't
okay.
believe you have him on your channel, haven't you?
Oh my god, I've interviewed him. I actually really like his Middle West. Unlike
Omar,
people
stop
that-
hating Scotty Young. We've talked
No,
about this. We've had
don't
group
misquote
therapy
me.
about this.
I love Middle West. Like, I believe people that don't like Middle West have no souls. So I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know who that would, who I'm talking to when I said that.
Robots.
Yeah, not a fan of his Deadpool though. I didn't think it was funny. And Nick Klein does a hell of a job drawing it. Scotty's a good guy. Why the hatred? I'm not basing it on how good these people are. I'm basing it whether they're good or not. And to go back to what Torsten said, doesn't have to mean good. It should be relevant. I don't think it's relevant. It's just not a great story. Please don't hashtag that. Oddfell, somebody was asking where Oddfell is. She is doing a shoot tonight. She's having a shoot tonight. So yeah, that's my only issue. Like,
I mean, the thing is that for Dugan's run, right? I actually think that the which was the one? The Secret Empire one is a better arc for his run than any of the other things that he wrote for Deadpool. So, but then I mean, I didn't choose that one because it's kind of like
Empire is a little too confusing, though.
Yeah, I know. That's the only reason why I left it out, because it requires you to understand what happened in Secret Empire. But I love that story. I love that arc, and I love how he writes Deadpool in that one. And then if we don't put in, I mean, that's my argument against Hawkeye versus Deadpool, because I think that if we are going to put a Dugan book here, it's that one or is Posen and Dugan's stuff, but not any of his. Like,
What is this
Dugan's
one
stuff.
per creator? Did we only have one Claremont
we
book
invite
on the
Tyler and he
X-Men
throws a
Evergreen?
wrench into the whole thing.
What
See,
if
like,
one
I'm-
creator just happens to be
Wait.
better than all the other creators? What
So
that?
great artists can't
Oh.
also be great writers. Right?
Exactly why we can.
That's not
exactly
true.
why we should have two Posen and Dugan's book, and like I mean, I'm not opposed to having Volume 1 and Volume 3 on the list.
But we're also not going to have like Spider-Man and Deadpool by Joe Kelly, which are completely different runs, just by the same writer. We're
Yeah,
gonna
but
have,
they're just not good. That's the reason.
it is good.
Omar's reason and kind of my reason too. So
It's not a good reason, though. That's the problem.
You just quoted me. Okay. Anybody? Dom, would you like to tear into Peter, please?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything else to add. I didn't really care much for the Scotty Young Deadpool run, and this is someone who loves Scotty Young's writing a lot more than his art. I think he's a phenomenal writer. His Deadpool just did not hit any of those notes for me.
Okay.
I don't really have any issues with these. I have fun with these two books. I don't really have any
Okay.
big animosity against it.
You guys are being too nice to Peter. Brandon, what about you? What do you think of Peter's choices?
I thought the Scotty Young run was just okay, but I've seen Scotty Young do better stuff like with Strange Academy. So like this wouldn't be like, as far as when I think of Deadpool runs, I also don't really think much of the Scotty Young run. I think of it like first off my head. And Hawkeye versus Deadpool, it's probably one of the better versus like books for Deadpool, I'd probably put Deadpool versus Thanos a little bit higher on that scale. But at least you didn't pick Kills of the Marvel Universe, because then we would really have to fight. Because I hate that book so much.
Oh, it's so bad.
I came close to adding it just so we could argue. Jess would have had Harley Quinn book on the list. Let me tell you something. I made that joke. I said Jess would just come in on the stream and choose 3 Harley Quinn books, and he was ready.
So, real quick, Peter, I got to tell you, I love you. You're a treasure. Deadpool by Scotty Young shouldn't be here at all. I love you like Omar hates Scotty Young, but I'm going to tell you this.
I don't. I hate Peter. I don't hate Scotty Young. Have I not made that clear?
Wow, I did not expect this panel of esteemed comic book fans to savage Scotty Young the way that they are doing right now.
That is a bad.
We're doing it to Deadpool, not Scotty Young as a person. That makes it any better.
Yes. All his image work is amazing. I'm going to say that right now.
His Strange Academy is great, guys.
Yes, it is.
Rocket Raccoon is funny. I actually like Rocket. It's just Deadpool. Deadpool needs a certain voice, and it's not it. It's not it. But look, you might get your Hawkeye versus Deadpool, which I thought was ridiculous at first, but actually it might work. I liked your pitch, Peter. That's the thing. I liked your pitch. Okay, first of all, I don't hate Bendis. I'm just not a fan of his work. Omar and Scotty, please don't hashtag Scotty Young. I like him. I collect his pins. Who does that? What grown ass man does that? All right. Anybody else want to dog on Peter? No. Okay. Tyler's choices. And why does Wolverine have to go? Who wants to go first?
I will defend Tyler, my compatriot, my long lost sibling and ex. Because we have a back channel group chat. I'm old. I might be the boomer on this stream, so I don't really do group chats except for I have one with Tyler. And so we will back channel about how bad Ben Percy comics are sometimes. Yeah. And when this one came out, we were both like, is it just me, or is he like extraordinarily good at writing Deadpool? And that's what I'll say about that.
See? Because it's great. I mean, his Deadpool is really great. And then he went on to like basically deface the data pages, which is something really funny.
Yeah, and sometimes Deadpool shines his best when he's in a Wolverine book. I mean, Omar has a Deadpool and Wolverine book, and I think of that Deadpool guest arc in another series that I love, Daniel Way's Wolverine Origins, one of my all-time favorites, which is Deadpool and Wolverine just like throwing down, and it's great. Sometimes Deadpool's best when he's a guest star in another book.
And you have Blind Owl here too. So, fans of the movie will be like, oh, okay, there's some familiar characters here. And then after that, they can like shit on Ben Percy, which is fine.
I don't even want to humor that book right now. I will say that I completely 100% agree with you on Deadpool Epic Collection Volume 1, The Circle Chase. I don't know who else on the panel will agree with you, but I feel like it's important because it is the origin, but it also happens to be funny. Like there is a good thing about this book. Like it collects a lot of good stories, a lot of early stories of Deadpool, a lot of what made him the Merc with the Mouth, and that was Feminiciosa. Because not only does it collect the Circle Chase, but it collects a lot of the issues that he wrote too. He wrote the dialogue, not the plot. Yeah, it collects his first appearance. So you do have, the Rob Liefeld stories in here, right? The plot. But Liefeld didn't write the dialogue. It was Feminiciosa that gave him the voice, and I thought he did a phenomenal job doing that. So I think it's important. There's a lot of people out there that have seen this guy like going to all these movie premieres and stuff, and they're like, who the hell's Rob Liefeld? Why is he here with like all these movie stars? Like he gets invited to all these things. I don't know. Maybe somebody will recognize him from the Levi's commercials, buttoning his jeans. But
because his name is on the shop.
Oh yeah, Liefeld's feet. Like that's an inside joke, right? I'm actually really happy somebody added that in here. I came close to adding it, not to be controversial, but I do believe that there's a history And it's very important to show the start and how he developed as a character. And he really developed as a character when Fabini Sessa and Joe Madureira and I think it was Harry Candelario did the circle chase story.
Yeah, that's the one.
And it's amazing, and it's got Vanessa in it, and it's got a couple of other characters that show up later
Weasel,
on.
I think Weasel is in it. If I
Yeah,
correctly.
Bob. No, you're right. It is Weasel, and then a couple like Sluggo and a couple of other characters that later on show up in Joe Kelly's run for absolutely no reason. They get like you don't even get the throwback. So I'm okay with. I actually love the fact that that's there, and I'm good with your Deadpool Volume 3. And that's all I will say. You know how.
Yeah, I was on the fence about putting this one on, but I think actually Tyler's right. And the reason is because of the contents of this book. It's not just because it has the Rob stuff in it. It's because it has the 98 that has 3 key issues of X-Force that explain the Vanessa stuff. Because if you read that original Circle Chase miniseries without having recapped the Vanessa stuff, it does not actually make very much sense. But this has all of the background in it. And then because they set up the Black Tom and Juggernaut stuff in Circle Chase, then the Wade Ian Churchill 1994 series actually makes sense. So this is just, it's not only like key material, it's really mapped well. And so I think because it's like origin material and there's really nothing particularly missing. I mean, I guess he does pop up in that Spider-Man crossover in X-Force 4, but that's like a much smaller Deadpool appearance. It's really comprehensive. And so I think that it's actually one of the best mapped of these kind of like early prelude material epics out of all of them.
Yeah.
Along with the Surfer first epic is fantastic.
Yeah.
Does
I have
anybody
no problem with the Epic Collection Volume 1 because it is very relevant as like in seeing like the very beginning of Deadpool before he got big in the comics, right? I think just for that, it should just be relevant to be on Evergreen, just for historical purposes. What I don't have much agreement with is the Wolverine Volume 4, because there's so many different and better guest appearances for Deadpool you could have put on this, including the Wolverine that isn't Logan. You have Laura with All New Wolverine, where he shows up in it. You could even put Black Panther and Agents of Wakanda, and that'll be a better guest appearance than this for Deadpool than Wolverine by Ben Percy.
But I have a question for you. Is it drawn by Adam Kubert?
What?
That's one of the reasons why I picked the book too, because it's pretty.
Yeah. So is the art of All New Wolverine and Agents of Wakanda, but at least also has a better appearance for Deadpool than just randomly in Ben Percy's run.
Well, and also, does that book actually shit on Ben Percy? No, this one does. Once you finish the Deadpool stuff, you read that 2 Wolverine issue, you're like, what kind of crap is this? And then you're like, okay, I'm never reading anything by Ben Percy. I'm never reading any Wolverine by Ben Percy again.
See, Tyler's trying to inoculate you. It's actually got a prophylactic quality to this choice.
So now we got to go with pretty artwork. I like that Tyler's just making up rules as he goes along. Yeah, I don't think we've established that. All right, Dom, why don't you take a shot? What do you think of Tyler's list?
If Wolverine by Ben Percy Volume 4 had X-Force issue, I think it's 20, and Wolverine, I think 15 is the Hellfire Gala tie-in.
No,
probably could have swayed me. But
okay, got it.
That this doesn't have those, so it's a pretty hard no for me, dog.
Just a straight up no. Okay. Okay.
The if I can chime in on this, Deadpool Epic Collection. It's not good comics. I mean, for the most part, but in terms of the work of Joe Madureira and Ian Churchill, it's very nice looking. But I can't disagree that while it's not necessarily good comics, that it isn't important to the character. And for that, I can see the need for an evergreen for that. Deadpool Volume 3, like everyone said, it's really good. It's really key. But it is going to become redundant, especially if someone starts reading Duggan's work via the complete collections. Wolverine 2020 by Ben Percy does not need to be here at all. And I understand that meth is a thing, but that should not encourage your choices of Evergreen comics.
Okay. Max, any thoughts on Tyler's list?
I don't think I have anything to add. It hasn't already been said.
Okay.
The Percy run is awful.
At least there's no adamantium surfboard in this one.
Oh yeah.
At least there's not that. Okay. Tyler, you still don't have a tear coming out of your eye, so we did not do our job properly. So we're going to move on to Dom of X. My man. I actually, I like all his choices. I think Uncanny X-Force, woo, you came in at the last second, man. I was worried nobody was going to choose that. So I'm glad you did. I think it shows a side of Deadpool that is the wild card that he's portrayed as in the movies. And I'm not going to spoil what happens at the end of the first issue, but that first issue, I was like, damn, that's where we're going to go. Okay. But yeah, and it shows how he works together on a team. I think it's a fun book. You could have chosen that or the first trade paperback, and I would have been okay with either one. And you already know how I feel about Deadpool and Cable. I'm glad. I knew people would put it on the list. Poston and Dugan, yeah, it's good choices. I have nothing bad to say. Good job. Does anybody have anything negative to say?
Yeah.
Okay, which one?
Unfortunately.
Okay, who wants to go first?
Peter? You go first,
Look,
Peter.
Uncanny X-Force is one of my favorite comics of all time. I had the excuse to reread it this week because I wanted to get ready for the stream, and I was just like, how are so many issues in a row 5 out of 5? Like, I never do that. That's not a thing that I do. But as I was reading them, I just realized it's just not, even if you rebranded it as Deadpool and X-Force, even if you picked a cover for it that had Deadpool prominently on the cover, I think like issue 4 or 5 does, I think 4, he's just not present enough in the comic, and he doesn't bump up against the other characters enough. I was remembering stuff that I thought had been Deadpool stuff that actually was Phantom X stuff. He has a great first issue, and then he kind of recedes. And I love this. I believe it was one of my X-Men Evergreen picks, but I cannot countenance making it a Deadpool pick. He's just not a big enough factor. It's really a Psylocke book. If we're doing a top Psylocke Evergreen, I would expect it to be a universal vote.
But you can't deny the fact that Deadpool plays an important part. And I know I'm arguing for Dom's votes here, but you can't deny the fact that Deadpool does play an important part in that first story arc. First 4 issues.
He sets it up, but Phantom X really drives it. He's the one who puts a cap
I would say
on
the whole
it, so
run
to
is
speak.
a Phantom X book more than a Psylocke book.
Whoa.
Yes, absolutely, Peter. A
It's
Psylocke
the Betsy book.
No,
Who is it?
okay,
I mean,
Psylocke
you're going to have to send me
shines-
your Psylocke mouse pad. You could put it in the mail to New Zealand right now.
Psylocke shines until the Dark Angel saga. After the Dark Angel saga, she kind of withers out, and then and it has been the Phantom X show from the beginning. It ends on the Phantom X show.
This first volume, though.
And I know we're not
is
arguing
Psylocke
about the
show.
omnibus, right?
Okay.
But I do feel like there is an equal balance in this book of characters, like whether it's Archangel, whether it's Wolverine. And I think the reason why I was going to put it on mine is because it shows you what the rest of the X-Men universe is like. And to me, part of it being an evergreen book would also mean you want to get people hooked on something else that is out there already. You want to get people hooked on a Wolverine book, or you want to get people hooked on an X-Men book that Psylocke is part of. That's why I think it's an important evergreen book.
Is it a Deadpool book though? Because it's a X-Force book. And the thing about it is, like, Deadpool has great moments in Uncanny X-Force. I have no doubt about that. But it's not a book I think of immediately when I think of Deadpool. It's just it has great moments with him in it. Thing about it is too, Uncanny X-Force also didn't even make the X-Men on the best evergreen list either. So I'd be very hard pressed to put on the Deadpool one too.
Wait, no, it
We're gonna go
did.
by that one.
It did.
It did.
It was. Yeah.
I'm 100% certain. I'm 155% certain it did.
Damn it, Brandon! You even near mentioned.
I'm
believe
looking
it
at the
got
list
added
right
on
now. I
by
don't see
the
Uncanny
chat
X-Force
phone.
right on that at all. So
You might
It
be
was
watching the
added at
Very
the end,
Fine
wasn't it?
Condition channel. I know Jess is a big fan.
Where's James? James,
Which
can you
I
check
thought
out-
Uncanny X-Force got in through the viewers' vote.
Oh,
Yeah.
you-
Oh, so we had to rely on
that
the
might-
chat
that
to
might
save
have
us
been
with their good taste.
Yeah.
that
The
might
book of
have
the
been.
people.
Well, I mean, if we are going to have a Remender's book, I don't mind Uncanny X-Force, especially when we are talking about Remender's Marvel book. So, like, I have no issues with any of these choices.
Did you expect me to add a Daniel Way book? I wouldn't even add his cookbooks to any Evergreen list.
See, like, real quick, I was going to come back on this because I'm kind of interested. I have a different take on this because these are all good. These all definitely deserve to be Evergreen. My only issue with Uncanny X-Force is that, even though it has nothing to do with this, is that Kyle and Yost X-Force is better. But that has no
Of
here nor
course, of
there.
course. I'm actually with Ian there, but Kyle and Yost don't have Deadpool on the roster. It's not until Uncanny X-Force that Deadpool ends up joining that team. So I think it makes for. I mean, Brandon did make a good argument, and so did Peter. But I think it is truly a well balanced book, especially those first. I would say the first 8 issues are really well balanced between character times. It's not just the Wolverine show. I'd probably choose a different cover, but yeah. Where's Thunderbolts? The
That's a
same
very
place
good
Daniel
question.
Way's Wolf Deadpool's on it.
Yeah, I think that's a Daniel Way bias.
I can't wait to do a Wolverine Evergreen list with Peter, so he can
I
add.
don't
his,
even hate the Daniel Way run. I'm shocked it's not on here.
You know, the Daniel Way run is the run that establishes the 3 voices, right? Deadpool always had an inner narrative voice, but Daniel Way introduces that third white caption box voice, which a lot of these books actually like reflect. Everything that came after that kind of jokes about it until Duggan actually gives it like a definitive origin during his run.
Yeah.
But I went back and read it, and it's just, I don't know. I never laughed. I kept track of how many times I smiled and how many times I laughed out loud, and I was doing it live on Twitter earlier this week. And the Way run just never made me laugh.
You have to be in a certain mood for the Way run, and yeah, if you just don't vibe with the humor, I can see it just bouncing right off of you. But me, I enjoyed it fine. It's not like my favorite run ever for Deadpool. I'm just very shocked as we didn't make everybody's list.
I'm honestly shocked too that nobody added it to the list. Also, I'm not joking. Deadpool is more popular than all the X-Men. I don't know if more popular than Wolverine, but he's up there. Okay. Max, any thoughts on Dom's list?
No, nothing that hasn't already been said. I thought it was a good argument that Uncanny X-Force is more of an X-Force book than a Deadpool book. But if it'll take the slot that might go to Joe Kelly's run, I'll happily pick the Uncanny X.
Yes. Okay. But
That
again,
just sounds like blasphemy to me.
we're not picking based on taste. I was ready to, like vote for Daniel Way's Deadpool book if I had to. So we're not picking personal favorites. We're picking what we think Evergreen books should be, which I thought really somebody would bring that Daniel Way era in here, because that era did become like it became the memeable era of Deadpool, and it had a lot of people knowing about the character before the movie came out. So it became like the very popular era of Deadpool. My choices. Who wants to go first? Peter? Tyler? Max?
I'll go
Any
first.
problems? Didn't think so. Okay, moving on.
Well, I think
No,
the challenge is
no,
you pick
no.
2 books that nobody even knows what's in them because they're
Yeah.
random picky choosy issue books. But for an Evergreen
The
list, that
title
might be a
should
good
tell you on
idea.
the book. Go ahead.
What?
Peter.
Peter, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like that. Honestly, for Deadpool, that might be the way to go. So
Oh.
Deadpool versus Wolverine. Let me tell you all what's in it so we can argue about it accurately. It's got Wolverine 1988, 88, and 154, 155. It has
Yeah.
Deadpool 1997, 27. It has Cable and Deadpool 43 and 44. And it has an arc that I love, Daniel Way's Wolverine Origins 21 through 25.
I am
Confirmed
the
that Omar
only
loves
one
it too.
On this
And then-
panel that chose a Daniel Way book.
That's
That's
right.
how
You're
You
it's
from
shouldn't
the
be proud
greatest
about that,
generation.
Omar.
And then Wolverine
feel
Deadpool
like-
the decoy as well. So that's what we're arguing over.
I feel like this is an excuse to put Wolverine in the Deadpool Evergreen list somehow.
No, and that's okay because there's a lot. And the reason I chose this was because there is different eras in here, and there is this movie that has already made almost $500 million. That's called Deadpool and Wolverine. So why not have a comic out there that's called Deadpool and Wolverine or versus Wolverine? And that cover by Simone Bianchi. Woo! Not and again, I'm not going with my favorite stories. As a matter of fact, I hate half of the stories in here, but I also am thinking of what people would buy, like what people are interested in. Somebody going to a comic book store, because I think some of us here on the panel have worked at comic book stores, and how many times have people walked in going, "Hey, what's I just saw this Wolverine Deadpool movie. What can you recommend?"
Wolverine Volume 4.
Okay, Tyler, you can go to hell.
I mean, we could just
You're
retitle it
fired,
Wolverine,
Tyler.
Deadpool and Wolverine, yeah.
Or
Sorry.
people's money with crap show comics. Hey, some people like Daniel Way's stories. I don't. I'm shocked. I'm the only one that I put Daniel Way on here. No. Let me hear though the rebuttal. Let me hear the rebuttal. What's Brandon said he had a problem with my choices because he can't read the titles. Okay.
No,
Dom?
I can read the title just fine. It's Deadpool versus Wolverine. I can see it right there on the screen. My issue, though, is just the fact that we're basically just picking sampler books as the best of Wolverine or best of Deadpool.
This
Basically,
episode is
what we're
not
doing here.
brought to
That's
you
2
by
out of
Marvel
3 on the
Comics.
list here.
Why are we doing Baby's first Deadpool comic?
Because that's okay. Sometimes
That is a
people
real comic.
need it first.
And it's much better
That's
than
right.
the first
There
two
was
on
a
here.
baby's Deadpool comic or baby Deadpool comic. You're right, Peter. Look at you.
I just don't think anything in it is particularly good, except for Daniel Way, of course.
But we're not selling it on the good. We're selling it on the title.
Do
Well, I
you
mean,
want
I'm
people
sure.
to buy
Are
less
we
comics?
all voting based on the cover pictures at this point? Like, Omar, we want people to keep reading comic books, right? Like,
Okay, good point. It does. Okay, it does have issues of Cable and Deadpool. It's got the Wolverine issues; those are solid, and it's got the
2
classic Larry.
issues.
It's got Larry Hama's issue 88, which is an iconic issue, especially right now. What else is? Oh God, it's got the decoy in there. That's an awful story. I can't even defend that. That was bad. Cable and Deadpool. Yeah, Cable and Deadpool is solid. Wolverine and Origins. Peter's a fan of that.
You got to get
Right?
that iconic Fabio Laguna artwork in that Wolverine 88.
That ripped
Jim
off-
Lee C+.
Well, it wasn't even ripping off Jim Lee. It was ripping off Mark Pacella, who was ripping off Jim Lee. Oh, man. Okay, so that's a solid yes from everybody, I assume. Dom, you've been pretty quiet. What do you think?
I mean, if you want me to, I think 2 of the 3 here would be perfect for newbies. At the comic store I worked at, those Saga trade paperbacks and also the Marvelverse graphic novel size trade paperbacks are amongst our best trade paperback seller in general, because they are a pretty easy way to market to all of the people who haven't gone into that character or just want to get into those. So I'm not really adverse to the saga of Wade Wilson, even though yes, it definitely is sponsored by Marvel Studios type of comic book. I don't really have any issue with it being in a final list. Yeah, I'm not really huge on DP versus Wolverine, but I understand your point though. But I also understand the point Peter's trying to make, because we did have comics like that at our shop where we recommended those to people, and we never saw them again after we recommended them. Yeah, there were 4 or 5 instances of that happening. New guy comes in the shop, hey,
what did you recommend?
this is completely off the page, but you know those year omnis, right? I know it's a completely different class.
You recommended the month.
Those were two of the five people. Two of the five, and others were like the Deadpool versus Wolverine one. But
Were
hey,
you working on commission?
yeah, we told them, hey, like this contains all these stories. You'll like them. We never saw them again after, so I understand Peter's point.
Okay, this is a lot different than.
Yes, it is. It is.
This actually has Deadpool and Wolverine in there. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
And then your saga of Deadpool, it's 3 of the issues are covered by that first Kelly book, which we're going to get to.
If we're voting for it.
And then another 5 of the issues are covered by Good, Bad, and Ugly. So, I mean, you could
get this instead of Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
That's true. I mean, that's true.
Stories.
It would be a good way to knock out voting for Kelly and voting for Good, Bad,
You
Ugly.
guys obviously love those stories. So, that's an automatic yes from everybody.
I might have just convinced myself, actually. I think it's an easier sell to sell this saga of than to sell Good, Bad, and Ugly. And this has the same material and other material, too.
It's what I do. I'm here to spend your money, Peter. So yes,
you're spending Peter's money.
Yes,
I'm not a fan of the
which
best
is
of both
hardly
worlds approach. It's Saint Van Halen.
What do the rest of the gang think about Deadpool Black?
Yeah,
White,
I want Tyler to come at me. Come on at me, Tyler. Take the gloves off.
Okay. Black, White, and Blood was on
You're
my
gonna
short.
start with that one? That would make sense.
Well, no, it was on my short list.
Oh, okay.
And the reason why I didn't pick it was because the stories are not that good. The art is nice, like throughout the art is kind of pretty, but the stories are not that good. The voice of Deadpool is not that on point for me. And so if someone who has seen the movie and you're like, oh, read this is the Deadpool anthology, and they go read it and it's like, wait, this is not what I'm expecting. So and then they're like, okay, I'm never going back to buying comics again. So and that's not a good thing. I mean, not buying Percy Wolverine is a good thing. Not buying good Deadpool comics is a bad thing. See, which is why this one is not on the list, but it's a maybe vote for me. So the other two, my argument against it is always I don't like this hodgepodge type of collection. It just doesn't make sense because people will be like reading it and then you just jump on to another story and they're like, okay, what happened? What's this? Why are we not doing that kind of thing? So that would be my argument against those two.
But you're okay with my other 3 choices.
I'm okay with the maybe choice of Black, White, and Blood.
The maybe choice.
Yeah. The other two is kind of a no, unless the Joe Kelly books are getting votes, then maybe I will vote the Sega.
Tyler, need I remind you that you had the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which is also collected. So that should be an automatic yes.
Yeah, that's why I said if I have, but I like that collection better because it has that flashback issue, which is not here.
The one issue that's not.
Yeah, but that one issue is important because that one issue makes the impact of the rest of the run.
Just like issue of Amazing Spider-Man 11 that's collected in the complete collection. Tyler.
47.
Yeah, you just dug your own grave, my friend. 47, thank you. All right. Anybody else got good things to say about my pick? Max.
Good things.
Talk to me, Max.
Okay, well, going by your logic on the covers, I think the first one would definitely sell because of the movie. The second one won't because it's incredibly boring. And the third one probably because there's a lot of violence. When it comes about the content, I'm kind of on the fence about the Black, White, and Blood one because I really enjoyed reading that, but mostly because the Honey Badger story in it was very fun. And that's pretty much the only thing I remember from that book.
Zombie zebras.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm still on the fence on that one. I agree with Tyler on the Saga book that I'm not a fan of the hodgepodge mixing from different runs type of stories.
Right, but you got to remember, it's not about us being fans. It's what would get people hooked on these particular stories.
If that's your criteria, some people's criteria, as established, was Deadpool's pert bottom.
And also, if they read a book and it's their, like, let's say it's their first comic, and it
Mhm.
just kind of goes all over the place with art style and with just tone and the voice of the character, that might put them off comics because it'll be a tonal whiplash between issues. Maybe. I mean, we're just speculating about these invisible made-up people.
That's interesting. That's an interesting take. Okay. Dom said his piece. Brandon said his piece. What about you, Ian? Is that a yes
Okay.
for all three?
Deadpool versus Wolverine, I wouldn't recommend to anybody.
Nobody. Not even Daniel Way.
Yeah, this kind of that recommending that kind of book, and I'm like, I feel like this is actually the reason you just got out of comics in the 90s, not because of Onslaught. It was because you were recommending just terrible comics to people. This is it reminds me of the comics where I used to shop at here in San Antonio, where the manager told me once that he would recommend Mark Miller comics to people who are just getting into comics. And I'm like, do you not want customers to return? Is that your plan? And it kind of gave me that same vibe. Deadpool, the saga of Wade Wilson, like everyone saying, this is redundant. It's like, hey, here's.
I think your books are redundant with my book. Go on, though.
Well, that makes me sad. Deadpool, Black, White, and Blood. I have not read Black, White, and Blood for the Deadpool series. I've read.
Okay. So this is the part where you shut up now. Then, okay.
But I'm going to say this: I'm an aesthetic junkie. I've defended multiple comics written by Brandon Choi because of the artists involved. That's all I'm going to say. And I know we can all relate to that to some degree. The Black, White, and Blood comics made Greg Land's artwork look semi-competent. So if they can do
almost
that for
as good
Greg
as
Land,
Spatulo's art in that King Deadpool.
Yeah, pretty much. And but at least he draws his own stuff, so I give him credit there. But if they can do that for Greg Land, they have to do something for this. So I'm going to put this in the okay section.
Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and say yes to all three. So anybody else got anything else to add? Okay. Peter, how are we doing this?
All right, let's go back up to the first slide. We are only taking yeses and nos, no maybes. There are no restrictions on how many you can vote or not vote for, but only the top 8 will make it in. We will tie break if necessary. So starting with
Wait, as someone who doesn't like Deadpool, I need to find a statistically top pick and check it out. Ooh, I like that.
We will know very shortly.
Evergreen should represent the best of a character, so new generations will continue to read. I do agree with that too, Edwin. But here's the problem with that, right? What I think is best of is different than what Peter thinks is best of, right? Like, we obviously disagree on artists, right? Like Greg Land is not, I don't think would be in my top 10, but it's definitely on Peter's. So it's all really subjective. So it has to be like, it's like a brain trust. Like we got to come together.
A new reader would love Greg Land. It just looks like traced pictures from a movie. Score.
Yeah, adult movies, but that's okay.
No, I mean, Greg Land's comics has this special ability where the women's hair can change from straight to curly page to page. So like this kind of like curly, and then you flip it over, it's like straight Emma, and then flip it over, Emma has curly hair again.
All right, hey. To be fair, Rob Liefeld was also doing that too. Tyler,
he was a bad artist too.
Wait, who said that?
All right. Settle down. We're gonna do some voting now.
Millennials.
So first we have Deadpool by Kelly Thompson. We know it's Brandon's pick. Dom, are you in or out?
I'll say yes to it. Why not?
Ian, yes or no?
I haven't read it, but yes.
Yeah, you don't have to have read something, by the way, to vote for it. Part of it is the sales pitch that you received on the stream. Max, yes or no?
No.
No. I am a no, because I just can't get over the art, guys. I'm sorry. Tyler?
Yes.
And Omar?
Well, I happen to like women, so I'm going to go ahead and say yes. Unlike
All
the
right,
people that
Spider-Man,
said no. Hey,
Deadpool.
take note, internet. I said yes.
Now we'll find out if Omar likes men. It's time to vote for Isn't It Romantic? Dom of X, yes or no?
300 no's if I could, 1 no because the only vote I have is in 1.
Okay. Ian,
No.
Max,
No.
I'm a no. Tyler,
No. The only
And
mans
Omar.
that I do with a man is romance, not bromance.
that's right.
Tyler! Hell no! Get that book off my damn
All right,
street.
we have our first total loser with all no's. Next, Deadpool by Joe Kelly Complete Collection. Keep in mind, we have both the Complete Collection here, which collects through key issue 11 and has the Amazing Spider-Man issue. And then we're also going to vote on the Epic Collection, which ends at issue 9 and does not have the
Oh my
Spider-Man
god,
issue.
we're gonna have 2 different Joe Kelly collections to vote
So,
on.
Dom of X, Joe Kelly Complete Collection.
So this is 299 no's from me, but since I only have 1 no, I will say no.
Ian,
Yes, definitely.
Max,
No.
I am a no. Tyler,
No.
Omar,
Peter, remind me, what does this collect compared to the Epic?
I believe this one stops at issue 9.
And where's the Epic end?
Hold on one moment, please.
Mm-hmm.
So just to make it clear, the Complete Collection collects Deadpool 1 through 11. Oh, I'm sorry, this one goes further. 1 through 11, -1, Daredevil Deadpool Annual, and Amazing Spider-Man 47. That's the one we're voting on right now. In
Okay.
a moment, we'll be voting on the Epic Collection, which has a Wolverine issue and two X-Force issues, Deadpool 1 through 9 and -1, the Annual, and so it does not have 10, 11, or the Amazing Spider-Man issue in the Epic.
Look, here's the thing. I don't like Joe Kelly's run. I don't think it's funny. But I also know the importance of this run to a lot of my viewers. So I'm gonna go yeah. I think this is important. This is important to the character. Plus it has issue 11 in there and the Amazing Spider-Man issue. So actually Brandon sold me on this one. So yes. Yeah. I'm gonna say yes.
All right, let's move on to picks from our next reader, writer, voter, picker.
Did Joe Kelly do something bad? Why
just
always for this? It's got, and I think it's great that people like it. I just myself did not find it funny, but a lot of people do, and which is why I don't mind voting yes for this one. I know the importance of this book.
Okay, Ian's picks.
All right, Ian.
All right, folks. So now we're voting on the Epic Collection version, which does not have issue 11 or the Amazing Spider-Man. Brand XK.
No.
Dom.
No.
Max.
No.
I'm a yes on this. I think the Complete Collection has had its day. Tyler.
No.
It's the same thing, Peter.
Omar.
No, okay, look, and the only reason I'm voting no is because I feel like the other one is a stronger collection because it goes all the way to issue 11. And that is the only reason why I'm saying no to this one.
All right, now Deadpool and Cable Modern Era, which is in 3 of the pick lists already. So Brand XK, what do you vote on it?
Hell yeah.
It was picked by Dom. It was picked by Ian. It was picked by Max. I am also a yes. Tyler.
I don't like the stories here, but I would vote yes.
Okay,
And Omar.
Tyler, you saved yourself from this island. Yes, 100% yes.
All right, that is our first statistical universal pick.
I'm
On
about to
to
keep Tyler out.
Deadpool by Posen and Dugan Complete Collection 1, also picked by 3 of us. Brand XK.
Yes.
Max.
Yep.
Tyler.
Yes.
Omar.
Not as strong a yes as Deadpool and Cable, but yeah, sure.
All right, we have a second universal pick from the panel.
Okay.
Moving on. Oh, Omar.
I'm sorry. Vanna White. Max's choices.
Thank you, Vanna. Okay, Max's choices. One of our most controversial ones of the stream Good, Bad, and Ugly. Rand XK.
No.
Dom of X.
You know what? If we broke the standard for Uncanny 3, I think we can get a second Duggan on here. So yeah, I'll say yes. Why not?
Ooh, Ian.
I'm gonna say no.
I may have been convinced to save my vote for Saga, so I'm going no. And Omar.
I'm voting for Saga.
All right. It's going to be interesting. Next up, Deadpool, Merc with a Mouth, Head Trip. Because, of course, we already have done the Deadpool and Cable. Head Trip, not a very controversial one in the discussion, but let's see how the voting goes. Brand XK.
Yes, absolutely.
Dom of X.
No.
Ooh, suspense from Dom.
Tough crap.
Ian.
I've read it. It looks interesting, so I'm gonna say yes.
All right, I am a yes. I kind of fell back in love with it this week. Tyler.
I've not read it, so but I go with I trust Peter's choice, so I say yes.
Wow. Omar.
It's goofy, it's stupid, but so is Deadpool. So yeah,
All right.
I like this.
Not a universal pick, but it did very well in the voting. Now we go to another list that had some controversial picks.
Oh God,
Nice.
what is this nonsense? All right.
So we already have voted on Posen and Duggan. So Hawkeye versus Deadpool. Perhaps the only truly out of left field pick anyone made on the show today.
Excuse me, have you seen my picks? Have you seen my picks?
Brand XK.
Maybe.
No, you can't maybe. You got it yes or no.
No.
Wow.
All right.
No.
Dom.
Peter, you're like an older brother to me, man. Probably going no here.
Okay. Ian.
Yes.
Ooh, Max.
Yes.
Tyler.
I can only say one no to Peter's pick, and it's not this one. So this is a yes.
And Omar.
Peter, you're like a distant uncle to me. So I'm going to twice removed. I'm going to go with yes, actually. I'm actually going to go
Ooh.
with yes.
That remains in contention. And now one that I'm sure will do incredibly well based on our discussion. Deadpool by Scotty Young. Brandon.
No.
No. Dom.
Also a no for me, dog.
Ian. All right, Randy Jackson. Ian.
Big no.
Max.
You know, I'm gonna go with yes for this one.
Oh. Tyler.
Oh, interesting.
No.
And Omar.
No.
All right, well, it didn't do quite as bad as Isn't It Romantic, but it's at the bottom of the bucket right now. Okay,
Wow.
moving onward.
Tyler's picks.
Tyler's picks, starting with Deadpool Epic Collection, Volume 1, The Circle Chase, including his debut issue. Brandon.
Yes.
Dom.
Yes.
Ian.
Yes.
Max.
Yeah.
I'm a yes. Omar.
Hell yes. I'm way to go, team. Way to
That
go.
is our
Hell
third
yeah.
universal pick of the stream.
It's important. I love it.
All right, now a book beloved by any Wolverine by Benjamin Percy, Volume 4.
We should go. Who has a vote for yes? Time up now because it's just me.
Brandon, you got to go through the ritual humiliation,
Yeah,
Tyler.
It's,
part of the
it's
show.
pretty humiliating if we
part
go
of it.
one by one.
Brandon,
Absolutely not.
not Dom.
Absolutely not.
No.
No, Ian,
12 kinds of no.
Max.
No, thank you. No.
I'm a yes. It was a great Deadpool story. Omar.
No.
No. Okay. On to Dom. So two of Dom's have already been voted for. This is
Right.
now our crucible on Uncanny X-Force Complete Collection Volume 1. Is it a Deadpool Evergreen? Brand XK.
Yes, if it means I don't have to vote yes for Saga. So yes.
Oh, interesting.
What
Ian.
the hell?
Yes.
Max.
Yes.
As much as I was the one that made the argument against it, it's just too good to vote no. So I will vote yes. Tyler.
Okay, my vote doesn't matter here because I think it's going to go on the list. So I'm just going to go with what I feel. No.
Yeah, you stage a protest if you feel the need, Tyler.
No,
Your
I
vote
don't. I
counts.
don't need to protest this because I think it's a maybe for me, which is why I was like, but it leans more towards the no. So it's a no.
Your
All right, not a
vote
universal pick. But
always,
Omar.
always matters, Tyler. Except for Wolverine comics, though. 'Cause you can't choose a good one. Yeah, of course, yes. That's a good choice. I'm glad that Dom's,
Thank you, friends.
Dom did good. I'm proud of him.
All right, on to Omar's picks.
Probably the most controversial picks.
Probably the
of
most
tonight.
wild card slate of all
Wild
of us.
card,
No
baby.
repeats.
Mhm.
Brent,
Now,
now
out of curiosity, how many yeses do we have already? Like unanimous yeses? Is it 2 or
we
3?
have 3 unanimous picks.
All right, man.
All right, Deadpool versus Wolverine. Brand XK.
That's a no from me, dog.
Okay, that's a no from you.
Still on the
Half
line.
$500 million movie franchise out there. Just saying. Go ahead, Dom. Use your brain.
You know what? I think my the person that I used to work for at the comic store would make me want to say yes in this. So I'll vote yes.
Oh,
All right, there we go. Smart
rationalization.
business owner.
Ian.
Since I don't want people to stop reading comics, I'm going to say no.
Max.
Ooh. I will go with yes for this one.
My
Ooh.
man. Okay.
I'm a no. I don't think there's enough good material. Tyler.
Tyler, imagine walking out of Deadpool and Wolverine and at the concession stand with some churros is somebody selling Deadpool and Wolverine comics. This book right here.
I don't see
Yeah.
why they got
Close
it.
your eyes and imagine that.
I would just tell them to go buy Wolverine Volume 4. So it's a no.
Oh, brutal. Okay, now Deadpool, the saga of Wade Wilson, which collects a number of Kelly issues as well as the good, bad, and the ugly story. Brandon.
Nah.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Guys, if we don't
No.
vote this one in, your good, bad, and the ugly story is out. We have to vote this one in. I'm just reminding people of what's going
All
to be
right.
lost here.
So Brandon was a no. Dom.
Brandon.
So wait, I didn't vote for either of the Kelly ones, so I guess I have to vote for this one, right? So yeah, sure, I'll say yes.
Oh, interesting.
All
Ian.
right.
I'm going to say no.
Ian, need I remind you, if you do not vote for this one, you're losing out on this book right here because it's gone. It's gone.
Okay.
Ian didn't even vote for good, bad, and the ugly. He doesn't care, Omar.
Oh, he doesn't
Heart
have
is
a
cold as ice.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Is
All right.
Max for
Max.
me, right? Yeah.
Well, I mean, kind of being strong-armed into voting yes, so yeah.
Okay. I actually think this one makes more sense than good, bad, ugly, so I'm a yes. Tyler.
All right.
Well, I mean, I'm the kind of person who is like, if you can have the whole thing, you shouldn't have anything at all. So
Oh my god.
Wow. Did your mom not feed you dinner if you didn't eat your carrots?
no, my mom don't feed me dinner if I don't get an A. I'm Asian, dude.
Yeah,
Yes!
there you go.
Yeah, I can attest. He's not wrong on that one.
Okay. I
Very much
mean,
true.
I think the story is good enough that it has to be on the list somehow. I'll say yes.
My man.
Interesting.
Man.
All right, final vote before I head into my tallying. Brandon on Deadpool, Black, White, and Blood.
Yes.
Interesting. Dom,
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Ian.
All right. We got to give them our one. So, yeah.
Max.
Yeah.
Wow. I actually think an anthology book is perfect for Deadpool. I say
Absolutely.
yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Thinking outside the box. Tyler, do you want to be invited back?
Wow.
Just answer the damn question, Tyler.
Okay. Again, I don't do well with threats, so it's a no.
That's why.
Well, there goes the universal pick. All right.
That's why
Give
you
me a
didn't
couple
get any
moments
dinner.
to
Your mom was
tabulate.
right. Your mom was right. She shouldn't have fed your ass.
All right, talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic. Deadpool, neither dead nor is he really a pull of anything. Please discuss while I put together our final tally.
I just want to thank my panelists again for joining me
Well, there
today.
was Wolverine Origins where he was made from a pool of dead people. So
There was that, yeah. Out of curiosity, if you had to pick your favorite Deadpool story, what would it be? I know Tyler doesn't like Deadpool, but if you had to pick one, what would it be? It can be an issue number.
No, I think for me, well, since you pointed me out,
I did not.
no, but it's true. It's true. I mean, I don't like Deadpool as a character. So
That's
you know,
okay.
yeah. But for me, I think the good, the bad, and the ugly, 13 to 19, it has to include 13 because what happens there is important for 19 to hit hard. So I think 13 to 19 is the best story arc of Deadpool that I have read. And I preface this by saying I have not read every single issue of Deadpool. So
Okay. Fair enough. Brandon, what about you?
I can't really think of like an issue number off the top of my head that I would say is like my all-time favorite.
You can do story arc.
All-time favorite things is like really weird for me because I just like Deadpool as a character in general. So like whether it's like video games, movies, or comics, like in general, I just like reading the character and like learning more about him.
Okay.
I did vouch heavily for issue 11, so I'm not gonna say that's my favorite one, but I will say like I did probably put up with whatever for a reason. So, the Joe Kelly run, that is.
All right. Who's next? Dom? Is that you? Dom, what about you? What's your favorite Deadpool story or story arc?
So
Or
I'm probably
English.
with Tyler on this one because, well, all the friends that I have who love Deadpool like don't read comics, unfortunately. It's more so from osmosis through like, you know, movies, video games. So it kind of burned me out on him when I started reading Marvel comics back a couple years ago. But if I had to choose something, it'd probably be I think Always an Instigator said it in the chat earlier. Deadpool number 20 by Jerry Duggan and Matteo Loli. Of the solo run where it's just him. It's a story called A Very Special Deadpool, which sort of gets into like, yeah, the nail of what Wade is as a character. And even if I'm not a big fan of him personally, I can understand why he's doing the things that he's doing and why he resonates with so many other people. So I think it's probably that for me.
Was it that's the one with the Punishers? That's the miniseries Suicide Kings? Is that what it was called? Suicide Run was the Punisher story arc with the crossover. I think it was called Suicide Kings. That was solid. I do like the Jimmy Palmiotti Punisher story too. That was good. What about you, Ian? What's your favorite one?
Well, as somebody who got more into Deadpool via omnibuses, collected editions, more so than individual issues, I honestly just I would rate as a run overall, Joe Kelly is my favorite. He's the one that got me to really care about Deadpool as a character and is introducing us so much of that universe that I find relevant to the character as he did. I'm going to go with that, with his run overall.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to go with Max. What about you?
Probably Good, Bad, and the Ugly. That one. Or
Yeah. I like that one.
is it a single issue or a two-part in All New Wolverine? Because his friendship with Honey Badger is awesome.
Oh, I love that. That was so good.
You know what? I'm gonna switch it. I'm gonna switch mine. There you go. I've got to agree with you there. I absolutely love that series.
Dude, I really like that too. Like I like that run so much that I did not like the Decken, whatever his name is, until All New Wolverine. Nor did I, and I'll be honest, I didn't like Laura either. I thought she was pretty one-dimensional and boring. Even when Chris Claremont wrote her, even in her own little mini series, it wasn't until All New Wolverine that I was like, man, I really like this character, and I started to care for her. She was solid. Is that it? Peter hasn't said anything yet, so he's doing stuff though.
I will say, I mean, that Dead Presidents arc, I love Good, Bad, and the Ugly. I a lot, but the Dead President, I just remember reading it and having never really understood like what was the point of Deadpool, and having read a lot of Deadpool at that point, and like liked him in Uncanny X-Force, but reading that issue, I was like, oh, I get it. Like I get what you can do with this character. I get what he's for. And just even rereading this week, I kind of had this fear of like, oh, it's gonna be dumb, like it's gonna ruin how much I liked it the first time, but I reread it and it was just as funny. I think you can't beat something that's actually really funny in its own right and doesn't rely just on pop cultural references or kind of jokes that are very of the moment. And I think that's why that one works for me. So much Deadpool is grounded in like that second in time. And that first arc, I think, is timeless because it's just the jokes work no matter what. Now, we have something very important to talk about here. We have a 3-way tie for places 7, 8, and 9, and only 2 of them can get in. So we need to go back and see if anybody's going to flip on these books. So the first of the top 3-way tie is Deadpool by Kelly Thompson. Max and I were both a no. Would either Max or I go yes on that book, Max?
Well, I mean, can I know what the other books are?
Oh, sure. So we're only 2 of these can get in. Deadpool by Kelly Thompson, Hawkeye versus Deadpool, and Deadpool, the Saga of Wade Wilson. And nobody voted no on all 3. So nobody has the total control here. So Deadpool by Kelly Thompson, Max, are you possibly willing to switch to yes?
No.
Sounds like no. Okay, and I am not either. Hawkeye versus Deadpool, Brandon and Dom, are either of you willing to go to yes on Hawkeye versus Deadpool?
I'll switch to a yes on that.
Oh, interesting. Okay. And then Deadpool Saga of Wade Wilson, Brandon and Ian were no's. Either of you willing to switch to a yes on that?
No.
Guys, I need to remind you, if we lose that, we lose Deadpool, the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I just want to say that again. Just want to say that.
I'm gonna say that.
Because it's going to get reprinted with the Posehn and Duggan run when they get reprinted again. So
we're not talking about reprints. We're talking about evergreens, Brandon.
Yeah. Ian, what was your choice there?
Get Evergreen reprinted.
I'm not sure yet. Hold on. I'll wait for them.
Elimination. So.
Well, Evergreen doesn't mean that one is Evergreen.
Peter, my answer is no.
Is always Evergreen.
Answer still no. Okay, so now we have to go to the negative side of that because we did not pick up a positive to get the second one in. So now we have to go to Deadpool by Kelly Thompson. Did anybody who voted for it previously want to change their vote to no?
To put which one in?
To put Saga in. Would you?
Come on, you sexist
flipping to no.
All right. Tyler would flip to no. So that gives us a final lineup. Give me one more moment.
Poor Kelly Thompson. She just won Eisner's.
Well, not for Deadpool.
Jeff
I'm happy you gave up after issue 4.
I can't believe it. All right, Peter, what's the next one?
I'm working. Hold on.
My favorite Deadpool story is probably all of Cable and Deadpool. But if I had to choose a story arc, it would be the last story arc, which is the Alone Again Naturally storyline, because that's when I think you really get to see the heart of Deadpool. And I'm not going to say why Cable has to leave the book, but man, it hits, especially when he's teamed up with like Bob, the agent of Hydra. It's such a good run. Woo.
All right, Omar, if you reload and go to the last slide.
The last slide.
The last slide. Okay. Let me reload. Here we go, everybody. Hold on to your butts. I can't believe these monsters did not vote for poor Kelly Thompson.
I voted for
My
Kelly
favorite
Thompson.
writer, but
Horrible
Do it
people.
again.
All right,
Betrayed.
here we go.
Feel so betrayed.
All right. Here is the Are we really? This is the Evergreen books? Okay.
that's what we just voted on.
Universal picks. Here's all of us on the panel said these are the most important books. Go out and spend your money on these books. Deadpool by Posehn and Dugan, the Epic Collection Volume 1 Circle Chase, Deadpool and Cable Modern Era Epic Collection, Hawkeye and Dead. Wait a second. There's no Joe Kelly book in here, dude. How did you guys vote Joe Kelly's run out?
Because it's in Saga, Omar.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, Omar.
It's that I knew that. Hawkeye
Here's
versus
the
Why
menu
did
that
they not
guys-
put in the book that made sense to put in over the book that made no sense to put in? I don't get it.
So I think-
Sponsored by Universal
Wait.
Pictures.
Epic Collection is also has some Joe Kelly stuff, right?
No, that was before
The
Joe
Epic.
Kelly.
I think it does. It has like the very, very beginning of
Yeah.
it.
It does not.
No.
So Hawkeye versus Deadpool. That book made it, but not Kelly Thompson's run. Deadpool, Merc with a Mouth, Uncanny X-Force, Deadpool, Black and White, and Blood. Yes, baby, that's right. 2 of Omar's books. Deadpool, the Saga of Wade Wilson, and that went Wildcard. So now it's your chance to vote. Everybody that is watching right now, what did they get to vote on?
I don't know. Maybe they should vote on something we didn't have at all because nothing else was like super close here.
Oh, Jesus
Deadpool
Christ.
by Alyssa Wong, I would probably put as like my short list. I'd really enjoy that run.
Me too.
Well,
Which
we
one?
could put. Why don't we put authors on there? We have a Kelly that didn't get in. We have Thompson that didn't get in. We have Way that didn't get in, and we have Wong that didn't get in, and also Young. So they should fight them out between a few of those.
All right, everybody, hold on. I can only put, I think, 5. Okay, Daniel Way, Scotty Young. Who else? Kelly Thompson.
Let's not put Scotty Young because the panel rejected him pretty harshly since Omar bars him from appearing on the channel.
I did not. Say
So I think we should. I think we should do Kelly, Thompson,
Got it.
Wong, and who did I miss?
I got Kelly Thompson, Daniel Way, and Kelly Thompson, Alyssa Wong, and Daniel Way.
Oh, and Joe Kelly.
Oh, you want an actual Joe Kelly book? All right,
Yeah.
here's your chance to redeem.
Unless you want to put Gail Simone on there.
I would actually. No, I
Gail
can't.
Simone.
I don't.
Gail Simone over who? Alyssa Wong, Daniel Way, Kelly Thompson, or Joe Kelly?
Daniel Way,
Over
bro.
Daniel Way.
Daniel Way. We don't want Daniel
No,
Way.
I gotta put Daniel Way in here. Like I feel
So
like
we can lose.
Do
Come
you
on.
though? Really?
So he
Gail,
can
Gail just put out
knowledge.
Uncanny X-Men
The
1
people-
this week. Put some respect on Gail Simone's name.
oh
Listen
my
to the-
god! All right, who am I replacing?
You're replacing Daniel Way with Gail Simone.
Guys,
That's
no, I'm.
No, you
I'm
should take out the Alyssa.
Yeah, Alyssa
Wong
Wong
one.
wants
Nobody's really read that
issues.
yet. I don't think anybody has an opinion on it yet.
I just read it for this.
all
Is
right,
it too recent? Because that would be the Cody Ziegler run.
it only makes sense that we take out one woman and replace her with another one. That's what Peter
Alyssa
said.
Wong,
That's what Peter
non-binary
said.
uses they them pronouns.
I did not say that. Peter said that.
Okay, to be fair, I'm in the background and I kept saying Alyssa Wong.
She,
So there.
she did, but she also hates women. Here we go. Everybody go and vote.
God,
Wow.
is that you?
The voice of God. That is a woman. Ariana was right.
Go and vote, everybody. Daniel Way had 2 Omnis, and he's still on the list. He still made it. Go and vote. Everybody go and vote, please. Because now
I mean, having omnis doesn't mean anything. I mean, Stan Lee has a lot of omnis. The writing is terrible.
Whoa.
No, the writing is terrible. The ideas are there, only in conjunction with the good artists that he works with. But the writing itself, the Silver Age writing, is terrible.
my favorite
Please
part
be on every stream, Tyler.
is seeing Omar and Peter battle each other with our extreme different tastes in things. Hot take, Tyler. That's your adjective, Tyler. If you didn't have one before, you've got one now. Hot take, Tyler.
But I mean, I know you agree with me because you can stand Silver Age comics as well.
I appreciate them from a
People
historical.
Yeah,
People
But it
put too
doesn't-
much
that
hate on
doesn't
the
mean it's
Silver Age
good.
books. I'm just saying. Like,
Hey,
you
come on,
wouldn't have the
everyone's
stuff
favorite
you
comic
like
ever,
now if
Thomas
you didn't have the
is Silver
Silver
Age.
Age.
Okay.
Just throwing that out there.
no,
Do you agree with this list?
that part I agree.
I'm surprised
that
that
doesn't mean
Black
it's
White
good.
Blood. I agree.
It is
Black
good.
White- I was making sure Deadpool and Cable was on there. That's what I was.
Oh hell yeah! Everybody voted for Deadpool and
Sure.
Cable. All right, we've got. Let me refresh. We've got how many votes do we have so far? We've got 33 votes, and there's over 100 people watching. Go and vote, everybody. Get your phones out. Melanie, go and vote.
Okay.
Your votes
I-
matter right now. Joe Kelly's
I mean, we might even
life
wind
is
up with
on the
2 of
line
these. It
right
might be
now.
2.
Hey, you guys can vote too, by the way. You can get your phones out, and don't forget to click that like button either. You can vote for Daniel Way. I love Silver Age and Golden Age comics. That's right. That's right.
Thank you.
No, but seriously, Spider-Man's by far the best thing Stan Lee wrote. I love his Spider-Man. I actually like his Doctor Strange and a lot of those horror anthologies or sci-fi anthologies that he did in the Tales of Suspense and Tales to Astonish. I thought were great.
His
You're just
X-Men
not a
was
fan.
objectively not good.
You're not a fan of any of it, Tyler?
Yeah, I couldn't finish Fantastic Four #1. I couldn't finish the Spider-Man #1.
Mhm.
And I actively hated X-Men #1.
I think a lot of us did. Even
Yeah.
X-Men lovers. Like I
You know
remember
what?
I remember
I
when
don't
I
even hate the Silver Age X-Men like everybody else does. It gets way too much hate for how much people talk about
Well, I
it.
mean, if, Brandon, you got to look
love
at it.
Silver
If,
Age
if
X-Men.
out of all of the Silver Age books,
Yeah.
between like Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer, Doctor Strange, I remember thinking that's the one I'm not really looking forward to reading is X-Men
It
and
takes a bit to
Avengers
hit
at
its stride,
times.
but I don't think it's like terrible, like the worst thing ever at the Silver Age.
What would you say is the worst Silver Age Marvel book? To you, your
Daredevil.
opinion? Daredevil's
That's-
up there. It's pretty bad.
Anybody else?
Come back to me on that one because I have to think about that one.
Yeah, of
I'm
course.
going to say the worst worst if we're saying Stanley specifically Silver Age. I actually do agree that the Stanley X-Men is pretty bad, and Neil Adams made the Silver Age X-Men worth reading on the second half. I'm going to say that right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of good Roy Thomas stories there too.
Mhm.
All right, let me look and see how the chat is voting. I just want to make sure people have had a chance to vote. So I'm going to keep the poll open just a little bit longer. So, oh wow, this is really not as close as I thought it was going to be. Dude, I'm really surprised Kelly Thompson is getting more votes than Gail Simone.
It's been moving. People have been jockeying for first and second place here.
That's crazy. So right now, Joe Kelly's at 38. Kelly Thompson's at 32%. Daniel Way, 20%. You monsters. And Gail Simone is at 10%.
These
Yeah, I'm
people
thinking-
clearly haven't read Gail Simone's Deadpool. That's why they're voting for Daniel Way more. It's
Well, the
confusion.
thing is, Gail Simone's is brief. Like, there's only a few actual issues of Deadpool, and then it transitions to Agent X, where he's kind of like a supporting character, sort of, kind of, like, without spoiling it. So I can understand the why there. It's really good, but it's not like quintessentially Deadpool. But those first few issues are. If you haven't read them, what does it start with? 65, 66? It's really good. Jump on
65.
Marvel Unlimited and read them. They're really good.
All those Udon issues with like Rhino.
Yeah, the
and
art is so
Casper.
cool.
So good.
Alvin Lee is just amazing.
That was back
yeah.
when they were doing the tsunami stuff, right?
This
Yeah,
is
I think that was
before.
that era, 2003.
It was right after the
2003.
Palmiotti run, and it was very, very different than what he was doing. Ask Tyler how he feels about Infinity. Oh, I know how he feels about Infinity Gauntlet. I think that was one of our first interactions on the Facebook group many years ago.
Also, I'm racking my brain thinking of like the worst Silver Age book, and like I can't
but
really
why don't
say
you-
Well,
any-
no, the worst Silver Age Stan Lee written book is what I was asking.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave by the way, I'm leaving the poll up for 3 more minutes, so go and vote. Go ahead, Brandon. What do you think?
I guess Daredevil, but I also enjoy his Daredevil stuff too. Like it takes a bit to get going, like his X-Men stuff, but like the red and yellow costume, it works for the time. It's not trying to be like Miller for the 500th time, like everybody else does, but
Okay.
I mean, that's a fair comment because that's one of the reasons why I like Mark Waid's Daredevil run. Because
exactly.
it's very different from all the runs that kind of come before, and I mean, sort of like came in between Miller's and Wade's run. So
Yes, this is the stupid emoji that Tyler would use when talking about the Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh,
I was like, what is wrong with this man? Not a fan of Silver Age Hulk and X-Men by Stan Lee. I would say, honestly, FF, Spidey, and Doctor Strange, just for being so different. It's so good. I like those stories.
Thor, I think, is underrated. I actually really do like the Thor books.
Which one?
A little bit wordy, but I can read Chris Claremont's X-Men. I'm fine with the wordy.
No, what was
Yeah,
the
I
book
think
that you
I've
read?
recently read a lot of the Silver Age Thor stuff, and I think
Oh,
Thor
Thor.
holds up because it's meant to be a little fantastical and mythological, so it kind of works for me that sometimes it feels a little overwritten or like overly flowery because it's Thor.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's definitely
It's-
my top three. My top
it's-
three might be Thor, Strange, and but then I have to pick between Spider-Man and Fantastic Four. I don't know. That's tough.
See, my thing is, even though it's sorry.
Fantastic Four for me on that one, but that's also because it's just for me. Fantastic Four is one of those books that doesn't get a whole lot of love. I think a lot of people just kind of like lately have been underrating the Lee and Kirby run, even though it went for like over 100 issues. Because it also introduced like stuff like Galactus, Silver Surfer, Inhumans, Black Panther, like just so much tapestry being built from the Fantastic Four that's not getting the credit for it.
Thor's mostly Lieber. He was at the beginning, really wordy and really Shakespeare in the Park, as they would say in the Avengers movie. How do you guys feel about Stan's Avengers? Yeah, actually,
love
I
it.
didn't. People really hate on that one too. I didn't mind it that much. I mean, it doesn't really get going until I think Roy Thomas takes over the book and with all the different introductions. But I dig that one. All
So,
right,
Omar, you
I
can
love
do
the
your
54
Silver
cent
Age
of,
Evergreen books.
Lord have mercy. I guess I'm gonna have to do that one.
You
Silver
have
Age Evergreen books. All right, I am ending the poll. Thank you all so much for voting, and we're gonna have our first book up here now. Peter, you want me to reload?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, let me stop the screen here and reload. Thank you all so much for partaking and being a part of this. And it's a lot more fun when. What the hell did you do, Peter? That's not what the hell. Okay, hold on a second.
It is all Ben Percy Wolverine now.
Don't worry, it is not. It is not. Yep.
Okay.
The chat voted for Mission Improbable. You added Kelly Thompson's.
Well, because we were at 8, 9 felt weird, so that Kelly was leading other way pretty significantly.
Okay.
So that was the top 2 from the chat vote.
All right. So there you have it. You all helped us build this list together. I do want to hear from the panel and then, of course, everybody watching. And if you're watching later, let us know what you would have added. What do y'all think of this list? Be honest, Brandon. What do you think of this final list?
It doesn't have
if you
Deadpool
worked
kills the
at-
Marvel
if you worked
Universe,
at Marvel-
so automatically it's a yay.
Okay, so if you worked at Marvel and like you had to present this to the boss, be like, "This is the list that we've chosen." Would you be happy with this list?
Except for probably Saga of Wade Wilson, but I will allow it.
I'll allow it. Thank you for that. What about you, Dom?
Oh no, I don't. I mean, it hits literally every single note that you could have. All of the Kelly fans are happy. All of the people who don't like Deadpool even are going to be happy, and all the newbies are going to be happy. So, I mean, I could be completely fine if I was Dan Buckley looking at this.
All right, Ian.
Funny enough, the one thing, even though one of my theories in the chat vote, I would, after hearing everything I've heard, I would actually replace that with the Deadpool Joe Kelly Complete Collection Volume 1. Other than that, perfect.
Okay. Max.
Yeah, it's great. No notes. It's good.
Okay. Tyler.
I would lie and drop Uncanny X-Force and put the Good, the Bad, Ugly in there.
Okay. Okay.
I mean,
Drop Uncanny X-Force. Okay.
yeah, that would be the only change that I think I will make if I'm to present it to a boss and say, hey, this should be the Evergreen Deadpool book, because I think Uncanny X-Force is going to be an Evergreen X-Men book anyway. So
Interesting. Okay. Peter, what about you? Happy with the list?
I want to pull out one thing the chat has talked a lot about during the time, which is that a lot of Deadpool is kind of just him being used in wacky sideline books, and we didn't really wind up with any out of continuity Deadpool, except for perhaps part of Black, White, and Blood. So I'm happy we don't have Deadpool Max. I think it's pretty horrible, personally. A lot of people have brought up Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. I like Brandon, don't enjoy that book, but I do think there's a good argument for like somebody walking into a store and picking up Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. And then our good friend Josh Greathouse in the chat brought up one that I actually love, and I almost put on my list instead of Hawkeye and Deadpool, which is Deadpool Wade Wilson's War, a fantastic kind of one-off, is it even in continuity book? So I think my one critique, and this is for me who loves continuity, I think we maybe didn't pick, we should have had like one out of continuity, totally crazy Deadpool thing on here, and we don't. But that's
Like-
the only thing
Well,
I really feel like is missing.
I feel like that's where Deadpool Black, White, and Blood kind of steps
Yeah,
in.
kind of.
Right? It's kind of, and as far as me, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I would replace either the saga of Wade Wilson or Hawkeye versus Deadpool with Daniel Way, just because I know the importance of that book to a lot of people. I don't like it. I think it's awful. It's not my type of comedy at all. It's not my Deadpool at all. But I also know the importance of that book to a lot of people, that it brought in a lot of people to read Deadpool and follow the character throughout the years. And that's the only thing. And I'm saying I would replace my own book with it, the saga of Wade Wilson, if I couldn't replace Hawkeye versus Deadpool. But everything else I'm happy with. Yeah, solid list. Yeah, let us know what you think if you're watching this later or if you're watching this right now. Deadpool, I've seen a lot of the Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, and it was almost on my list. I do not love Daniel Way. No, I do not. Omar saving his ass. It's what I do. Deadpool Illustrated. Didn't even think about that one. I really did think about Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. Hope Tyler's on the next Evergreen stream. Omnidog, Lars, and Peter, Comedy Gold. Oh, Tyler's always welcome. Maybe we'll have to do we have done an X-Men Evergreen, but maybe we'll do like a Wolverine Evergreen because I'm curious about his thoughts. If I see that stupid Benjamin Percy book in there, again, you're off the panel.
You will not see any Benjamin Percy book on a Wolverine.
Actually,
Evergreen.
Peter, that would be really fun. So take a snapshot. This is the final list. Thank you all so much. But before we sign out of here, I do want to thank my panel again. Each and every one of these people were so fun to hang out with and banter with. And at the end of the day, we're all still friends, I think.
I mean, I hope so.
As wrong as some of their opinions were about some of these books and stories and what they find funny.
Like you don't like Scotty Young, so we are fine with that.
Do not take my words out of context. I think I do fear that some of these people on the panel have no funny bone at all, but to each their own. So with that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and let us know, actually, if you're in the chat right now, let us know what other evergreens you want to see, because this was something that Peter and I came up with right before I flew to Japan. I'm like, hey, let's do something, and you're like, well, that movie's out, why don't we focus on Deadpool? And I was like, yes, let's do it in July when I get back. So it was a lot of fun. But if you think, Wolverine, or we can bounce back to DC and talk about DC Evergreens, because that's a lot of fun. Because we've done Omnis. We did Batman, didn't we, Peter?
Oh yes, we certainly did. I read a lot of Batman.
Okay. Maybe we can do Superman or Wonder Woman. That'd be fun.
Spider-Man would be pretty cool.
I can tell you right now, manga would be a completely different panel. I think, who reads manga here besides me?
I mean,
You don't want
does
me on the
Russo
manga
Fighter
panel.
count?
I would just annoy Josh constantly.
Okay.
So
I've read like 5 complete manga series, so I would not be.
That
good to
is
be
5 times as many as Tyler has read, I bet. Flash or Green Lantern? Flash or Green Lantern would be fun. Iron Man, Aquaman, or TMT. Somebody suggested, actually it was Tiger Eyes. He really wants us to talk about, and this would be really difficult. I don't know how we would do this, Peter. The Mount Rushmore of like writers and artists.
I think it would be fun looking at TMT, because TMT, it's like, well, what do you pick? Eastman and Laird Volume 1, you pick like a couple volumes of IDW. Where's the battle? What if we did like indie Cape Comics? Like if you think they count as a superhero, you can pick it. Indie Cape Comics Evergreen. So like Wildcats, Invincible, Spawn,
Well, and
Teenage
then
Mutant Ninja Turtles, Hellboy,
you would have to define what indie is, right? Like,
any non-Marvel, non-DC, and if you can make the argument that it's a superhero, you can put it on your list.
I would immediately be on that show. I'm just gonna say it right
Usagi
now.
Jimbo.
Yeah, Ian would go hard. Ian and I are like this on 90s
Uncle-
indie garbage. Ian
Uncle
and I are.
Scrooge.
I've got Lady Death collections right over there. So
Yes!
Oh,
Lady
Feed me the
Death.
terrible cheesecake 90 comics. I love
Yeah,
that.
that's all, dude. That's hard because there's just so many choices. Scud, because I mean, you could justify just about every character, even Strangers in Paradise, because there was that one issue where they dressed up as superheroes.
If somebody wants to come in and make that
I'm just
argument.
saying.
hey,
Ooh,
well,
Grendel. You
remember
could do Grendel.
Liberty Meadows?
no.
They went to a
Looking at my
Comic Con
shelf,
and we
there's
get Frank Joe art. So there you go.
Witchblade. There's so many
That's
choices.
gotta-
Somebody
that's
could argue
really-
for Vampirella.
I really like that idea. Oh my god, it would be insane
but
though,
it's
because everybody would come in with
bloodbath.
different choices, and we only have 10. Damn, that's a good.
Maybe
one.
we'd go a little bigger, like the library one, but I think that would be fun.
Speaking of the
I'm-
library one, I got all the books in, and there was a nice minty that donated and wants to go unnamed, the Etronaut book, which by the way,
Whoa!
rent and worth a lot of money. It's not in the best condition, he said, but I was like, I'll take it. I'll take it, and thank you so much. That was wonderful. And Top Shelf even donated the 3 books that we chose on our books that every library should have. So I will be donating. I'm gonna take a picture of the whole books and maybe do like a short or something. Damn, that would be hard. Scotty Young Evergreens. Could choose is my superhero. Man, that's a good one, Peter. You got me thinking. Man,
Ian's ready. Ian can do it right now with no notice.
I actually could. I'm actually ready. I mean, I was going to put in the chat that Nikita Lyon's my superhero, but I know Omar and I would fight over that one.
wait, who's
Usagi
the
is
superhero?
Usagi a superhero?
I said that Nikita Lyons is my superhero.
Oh yeah, she could join the panel. Actually, as a matter of fact, I don't need anybody else. It's just me and Nikita Lyons talking about comic books. Yeah, of course, Usagi Yojimbo's up super. So is Uncle Scrooge.
If you want to make that argument.
I mean, you can almost make an argument that any of these. Man, that's hard. Best Bendis books. I could do top 3 best Bendis books. That's not a problem.
That
I
would
think
be
mine.
fun.
Mine would be a lot different than most people's, though.
Yeah, I think mine would be too.
Yeah.
Have you
That would
guys
be fun.
done any? Have you guys done anything that is like kids friendly books?
Not on an
Oh,
evergreen, not in a panel conversation. Like my wife and my kids have done like the 10 best kid book graphic novels for kids and things like that.
Yeah.
But
Would that not be interesting for people with like kids?
The
See,
library
essentially-
stream kind of had a
Yeah,
little bit of that.
we
But
did
it
think
wasn't-
about that.
yeah.
And then we crossed, we did talk about like how I think Watchmen should be part of that, even though it's not for kids. So we can't think of graphic novels as just for kids. But
Mhm.
maybe Tyler's got something here. Where's evergreen list of worst right? I would need
How to ensure these people do not get on Omar's channel?
It's so funny because you mentioned the Just for Kids. My immediate thought was actually Hilo by Judd Winnick. Because I know so many people are like, "Oh, Judd
that's
Winnick's
a
not
good
making
one.
comics anymore," and it's like, no, Judd Winnick's making comics for Scholastic, which makes you a lot more money as a creator right now than it does making comics, traditional comics.
I miss his comics. I miss his
too.
comics.
But Hilo
Daredevil,
is actually really good.
Daredevil would be a good one just because if you only had 3 choices for the character of Daredevil, we could do Omnis because he's had a lot of
Yeah,
Omnis.
we could do Daredevil Omnis.
And I know, like, we get Brandon in here with his Silver Age nonsense, and he'd be like,
No. I would actually probably would not. I don't want to tip my hand just in case, but like I would probably go off the cuff with that one. I wouldn't pick the most obvious ones.
yeah, I think that's the way I've been playing it. And then we're gonna get to the point, Peter, where we're not playing the game right, where we're not picking the right ones, and then no one else is doing it, and we're gonna get screwed and have horrible choices.
Are you implying that I did not pick my top 3 favorite Deadpool books, Omar?
Let me look at your ridiculous list again.
I don't think.
No, I don't believe you. Maybe the Posen and Dugan one, but that's it. I think I really like the independent comic one, just because that's a bloodbath. That is like coming in. If we have a full panel of like 9 people, everybody's gonna pick something different.
Yeah,
but you can
it's gonna-
restrict it. You can restrict it by decades.
Oh, that's true. We could
um,
just do like 90s and then
Yeah.
oh,
Oh,
Mighty-
Peter,
Can we count?
I like
Can
that.
Vampirella be on the list? Vampirella back there. Should be on the list.
somebody in the chat said we should do events like Marvel event Evergreen. That would be because there's like 30 plus events. That would be cool.
Oh yeah,
So
that's a good
Infinity
one too.
Gauntlet, Infinity War, Infinity Crusade. There you go.
Oh, for Tyler, hot
Pew,
takes. Tyler?
pew, pew.
Tyler's a big fan of Atlantis Attacks. And,
Atlantis attacks, baby!
That's a lot.
Okay, fine. Civil War, Secret Wars 2015.
oh God, did somebody say Civil War? And here we were having a good conversation, Brand. That
It was
story
Civil.
is awful.
Just
Secret
kidding. I don't
Wars
like
2.
Civil War that much. I'll get it
I
in
saw
an
some-
Omni, but I don't like it that
Oh,
much.
you know what though? But I got to think of Evergreen. I hate that story so much, but I know it would do well as an Evergreen because it is an Evergreen already. The
did.
trade paperback.
Yeah, that's true.
It did the New
there are
Warriors
some
so
events that are
dirty, I
already
hate it.
evergreens.
I saw Civil War issues in a dollar box at the store down the street from me today, and I'm like, this feels right. I mean, it should be in the quarter box, but this still feels right.
Evergreen McFarlane, that weird Infinity Omni that half Starlin and half Hickman. Obviously, forgot about that omnibus. And for a while, Marvel knew what they were doing. Supreme is an excellent one. Marvel knew what they were doing because that Infinity Gauntlet omnibus was out of print. And we had no idea if they were ever going to reprint books like that. Now people, I think, have the idea like, oh, one day it'll be reprinted. But back then, do you all remember the Wild West that it was that we were like, this is never going to be. I remember when people were like, Annihilation is never coming back to print. And I remember when I found out and I hadn't announced it yet. And I had to keep quiet for so long. And I was like, it's actually coming back to print. And I remember so many people didn't believe me because it was the first video announcement that I made. Like they were like, who the hell is this guy on YouTube making announcements for Marvel Comics? Yeah, right. But now
I'm
now
sorry,
it's
Omar.
third printing. Were you one of those assholes, Ian?
I was not. All I was going to say was it is kind of funny looking at the last couple of videos by you this last week. And it's like people going from, who is this guy announcing this book from 12 years ago? And now it's like, hey guys, it's me, Near Condition. I'm going to announce for books from 2030. It's like December of the end of this year.
2025. Evergreen Brubaker, since so many of his Fantastic Image OHCs are out of print and still printing stuff like that. Civil War 2 needs an Omni. No, it does not. I really like all these
How many
suggestions. Are
tie-ins that
great.
book has? Civil War 2 would be like 2 companions to fit all that stuff in.
Doing it with Secret Wars.
Best, yeah, they are. They're doing it with Secret Wars. Best team up rankings. I like that. I really like the indie one. We'll throw that into our chat and talk a little bit more about it. When Annihilation came out, we were starved for Marvel Cosmic. It's so good. No, yeah, it's good.
I was just in a discussion on Twitter of like, what's the most pick upable like Marvel event? Like, if somebody's like, I just like everything Marvel. The movies are cool. What should I hand me one? I really feel like Annihilation. It's very satisfying. It really like all fits together well. It's one big epic story. It's got a lot of different characters in it. I think Annihilation is one of the all-time best.
That would be.
Plus, it gives you characters you don't normally see in Marvel books. Like, who's gonna pick up a book that usually has the Guardians of the Galaxy in it, but it works.
Well,
They're
it's like
almost all
where
in
they
the
came
Annihilation.
from. Yeah.
And that
Yeah,
particular omnibus is mapped really well too, because they were thinking ahead of time of like we're gonna have these miniseries that lead into this one shot. That one shot will spin off into this particular series, and then we'll come back for the big event. I like the mapping of that book. Evergreen, the Avengers, but not but the Crossings, one of the greatest Avengers stories. Indy would introduce people to a lot of great titles. Yes, a lot of great titles like Lady Death and what else did you say? Not Grendel. Zen. Do you remember Zen?
I have Zen, the Intergalactic Warrior holographic cover number 1.
I love that book, but I'm like, does anybody really need to read this? Probably not. It's not that great.
Ash
Ash is one of my favorites. I love. I'm actually Joe Quesada's joining me this coming up week or next week.
Wow.
Tick.
Tick is a good one.
Peter.
Actually.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. Gru. There we go. Conan the Barbarian.
Can I specifically say
Super
Adam
Hero.
Warren's Gen
Tiger.
13?
What did you say?
Pardon you?
Can I specifically just say
Ring
Adam
the
Warren's Gen
Tiger.
13?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we'd have to discuss the rules, right? Is it gonna because somebody like Vampirella has so many different writers?
True.
Are
Plus,
we, are we just like nominating characters? Are we nominating runs? I mean, that was really potentially funny. I think it would really, I would love it. I have so much.
I like this
True.
one here too. The crossover Evergreen. That would be fun with Aliens or Predator books.
Oh, like
There were a lot of good crossover Evergreens.
multi-publisher, multi-franchise.
I feel like a lot of us would come in with DC versus Marvel, but instead of doing, oh no, we would. That's an actual crossover. Oh, that's a good one.
the first Batman Predator is so freaking good. It's still my favorite.
So many
That would
good
be
ideas.
pretty hard for me because one of those is like one of my all-time favorite comic books ever. So,
What about you, Dom? You got any ideas, buddy?
I think just going over every single character at some point would be cool, just to introduce, like, oh, here are our tastes. This is what we think is cool. I like the indies idea in particular, though. Maybe like or streamlining on certain writers, like you guys were talking about Scotty Young earlier. I'm like, yeah, I could do Me You Love in the Dark and Middle West and Twig and stuff like that. I don't know. I love all of these ideas. I think they're really cool.
Okay.
DC events too. You can put in crisis evergreens. Talk about those.
I do like the Marvel and DC events because there's so many, and and then we can even do X-Men events. Oh, X-Men events would be.
Oh, that would be a fight.
Oh,
Yep.
dude, you know I love me some Vault of Mutants, and any of you assholes say no to that, you're kicked off. Not just the stream, life. Elseworlds. Actually, Elseworlds would be really good. Thank you. That is a good one too, because there's so many good freaking stories that started as Elseworlds, and then they kind of just went off and did their thing. Best Marvel, no, not 616. Well, I know Peter's gonna vote for that Ultimate Universe nonsense.
If you do an Ultimate Evergreen, I'm going to be in trouble because I will have to read Ultimate Comics in order to do
That's how we get you to read it. Evergreen
Man,
Comics.
did anyone say that one yet?
Oh, I like this. Evergreen Comics written by movie folks. Kevin Smith's Green Arrow, Whedon's X-Men. Huh. What was J.J. Abrams' kid, Spider-Man? That one?
That was actually better than I thought it would be. Because I'm like, I read that and I'm like, I expect it to be bad. And I was like, this is
never
decent.
heard that.
I think that's the first time I've heard someone say
first
that.
time I've
actually.
It's
heard
not okay.
Unique sentences never
It's
spoken
not-
before.
It's not terrible, and it's not amazing. It's better than I thought a storyline by a writer and their son that happened to get a job for legitimate reasons would be. Kind of like, you know how the Karate Kid movie was the best movie with Jaden Smith in it. Because everything
What
else
Ian
is
is saying
terrible.
is for a nepotism comic, it may be at the top of the list.
Yes, the top Nepo baby comic. There you go.
Top nepo babies.
Not Madam Web. With Melanie. Is it Melanie Griffith? Whose daughter is in that? Goldie Hawn.
Yeah.
Goldie Hawn's daughter? Whose daughter's in that movie?
It's
Don Johnson and Melanie
she's
Griffith.
Don Johnson and Melanie Griffith.
Yeah, right. You're going with that. Okay.
Bruce Campbell from comics.
Well, this was a lot of fun. And before I sign off, I do want to thank again my panel. And as they sign off, I'm going to let them tell you a little bit about themselves. So, Brandon, where can people find you? I know that's a weird question to ask somebody that doesn't have a YouTube channel, but where can people find you if they're looking for your address?
Well,
They don't agree with you.
not really anywhere. You can find me on the new Near Mint Condition Patreon, though, and Discord, where you can find me yelling at about anything, whereas video games, music, movies, comics, and TV shows. Like, I have a lot of opinions, and I'm not afraid to express them, as I'm
That's the
sure
way it
most of
should
you
be.
know.
That's the way it should be. What about you, my buddy Dom of X, coming in 10, 15 minutes late? Whatever, man. You're like, this ain't my first rodeo. I can be in a near mint condition stream late. Where can people find you?
Actually, real quick to segue to the segment. On August 1st, I hit 500 subscribers, and surprisingly, 5 days later, I was gifted with 1,000 subscribers, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without you, Omar, and everyone else in the chat who has subscribed or got some osmosis through here from me. So I'd like to thank you all for letting me hit that milestone. But I do have a YouTube channel, and it is right there where I do cover news, release date updates, comic books, and all the other sorts. You can also find me on comicreleases.com, where if there is a big Deadpool omnibus or something else that you'd like to track, we have it on the site. And for just $2, you can subscribe to our Patreon. It is the one-stop shop for every single release date for omnibuses, big, thick trade paperbacks, and everything else. And thank you for once again having me on one of these panels, Omar.
I want to say one quick thing. I may have a little to do with that, but it is your consistency and your output of videos that is getting people to subscribe, because I mean that's what it takes. It takes a lot of work to put things out there and to get people to watch. So you're putting out good content, man. That is more than anything what's getting you subscribers. So thank you for being here. Ian, what about you, buddy? Where can people find you?
You can find us on, you can find me and my co-hosts on Circuit 42 on YouTube and Spotify and iTunes. I will say briefly, I'm going to shout this out. The show I am proudest of that we have done, because one of the big things, and Omar, Peter, you can confirm this, one of the big things that we do, we've always pushed for guests in addition to the interviews. But the one I'm most proud of was when we had Eric and Julia Lewald, Larry Houston, and Ron Wasserman on the X-Men The Animated Series podcast back in 2021. We've run content ever since, but that was the toughest one to put together, and that's the one I'm most proud of. You can also find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. You could find us on Twitter, but we are no longer there as we could not stand the musk of it all. And, of course, you can find me and yell at me on Facebook and Instagram as the creatively named Ian McIntosh.
Okay. And Crisis, how the hell did you get over there? Peter, what are you? Where can people find you, buddy? And when are you going to be here next?
You can find me here on Your Mint Condition all weekend, same bat time, same bat channel, because we are doing a recap of the upcoming DC omnibuses that have been released, as well as a recap of all the Marvel omnibuses being released. And I'm going to be back to talk about both of them. So you just can't get away from me this weekend on Your Mint Condition. But typically the place that you cannot escape me is crushingcrisis.com, where I've been writing for later this month. It will officially be 24 years. And that is where I talk about new releases and also map how to collect all of the Marvel universe and a huge amount of the DC universe. Again, I want to say that this is a dream panel for me. These are all people I love talking with and arguing with comic books online. So I'm so happy to get to hang out with all of you for a beautiful chunk of today after what has been a rather strange month of my life. So happy to be on the channel as always.
Thank you. Thank you. In 24 years, you have been writing longer than Dom has been alive.
Thank you for that reminder.
Yeah, it's what I do. I make people feel old. It's what I do. Speaking of old, Tyler, where can people find? Welcome to the party, pal.
Am I older than you, Omar?
So we'll say our age at the same time.
Yeah.
Ready?
Okay.
1, 2. Go ahead.
What?
All right, I'm going to count to 3, and then we're going to say our age. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. 27.
Methuselah.
I was about to say 15, but no, I'm old. I'm 50. So.
You're not old, Tyler. You look great, buddy. I was just messing.
Oh, thank you.
You're not. You weren't the boomer I was talking about. You weren't the boomer I was talking about.
I'm just
all right, Tyler. Where can people find you, my friend?
If you're looking for present Tyler and future Tyler, it is on my YouTube channel, which is, you can find the UXPOSE there. If you're looking for past Tyler, it is with Peter.
That's right. They used to have a show, This Weekend X, which was a lot of fun. I got to join you guys when the Krakoa era was starting.
Yeah.
You remember that, guys?
Yeah.
You were so young then.
I know.
It was a lot of fun. And yeah, go and check out his dude. Tyler is a super knowledgeable guy and also one of the friendliest dudes I've had the pleasure of meeting.
Thank you.
And I'm so glad he joined us for this. That's awesome.
I'm glad you invited me. So, and I'm not on your and I hope I'm getting invited back. I did vote for one of your choices.
You did. I am keeping tabs of who does not vote for my choices. I am not that petty. Nor am I a narcissist. Okay. Max, what about you, buddy? Where can people find you? What do you do?
Max, I mostly do music things. You can find me on Instagram, which James is probably going to link, for music things. You can find me on YouTube for the music things I do, or you can find me in parks late at night looking for friends.
Oh, that took a turn.
Yep, creepy. Let's not end it on a creepy note. I've
I like
watched
my
a
hobbies.
lot of your videos, Crisis, and you've evolved as well. You have, Peter, I have to
Aw.
say. You have found your voice, and now you're not afraid to share it with anybody. Screw anybody that doesn't agree with you. I mean, sometimes we need that. So I am the Uncanny Omar. I am here every day, including tomorrow, and I have another live stream tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, where some of the folks here on the panel are going to be joining me. I have the Saturday live stream at 11:30, plus other videos that are going on, and then back for Sunday's live stream at 6:30 p.m., where we're going to go over all the Marvel Omnibus announcements, and that's the important one. That's where people come and give us suggestions, and I write down things, and I send them to Marvel when they're done with E23, because I think that's this weekend too. But that is it, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. Smash that like button on the way out. Stay healthy and safe, everyone, and I will see you back tomorrow. Yep, tomorrow. And if you're watching this on the recap, smash that like button. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.